move on. All right. It's gonna be a little uncomfortable, but I need everyone to stand. So, especially that middle row is gonna have a little problem. Front rows are good, back rows are good. Real quick, just stand for me. I'm pretty sure I know the answers. I'm pretty sure I know the answers. If you got your license in the last year, sit. If you got your license in 2022, you can sit. Okay. If you got it in between 2020 and now, 2020 to now, please sit. If you can't do math. No, I'm just kidding. If you got your license as of 2020 pandemic to now, please sit. Okay. 2015 to 2020, please sit. That's pretty. 2010 to now, please sit. So you're in your 12th year.
Nice.
Wow.
Good.
When'd you get your license?
2004.
2004.
Wow.
2005.
Do not sit. Just give them a round of applause. That's one, but they made it through the last recession. They made it through short sales and REOs. That's what's so impressive. And they're still here. And they're still here. So thank you. It was tough, right?
Yeah, it was. I feel like I'm so excited for this class, but I do feel like this is gonna be different.
It is.
It's gonna be so different than what it was.
It is.
And
It's not a bank crash. It's just completely different.
you know, and also I think people have a lot of equity in their homes.
Yeah.
So it may not necessarily be a short sale, but they are still gonna be like forced to sell. And I think that's gonna be the big difference. Yeah, excuse me, the big difference.
And
One of the
that's
differences.
why we're doing this class.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
about the interview. It's about, I'm looking for a mouse. It makes it different. It's not an automatic short sale.
Right, exactly, but they still might be in a position where they have to sell. So
Yes, it just won't be short.
I'm so sorry, I took multiple packets. If somebody else needs a packet.
So you're so right. It is very different right now. And that's why we're doing this. It's the interview. It's that's not what I want. It's the interview. It's how you handle the listing. Every listing could go either way. It's not like before. We knew if someone had to sell, it was a short sale. We could just tell. It's like, it's impossible for it not to be a short sale. This time, you really have to separate and ask extra questions and be really careful. Because we're not trying to force them into a listing. We're not forcing them into selling their home. We're here to help them make the right decision. And do you know how many agents can't do that? They will take the listing and they have no clue. Sorry, they have no clue what they're up against because they didn't ask the right question. I can go in and get a listing and never know what the payoff is. And then you're gonna have the buyer and you're gonna bring the buyer to that and you're gonna find out when when is the payoff ordered. Way after, right? So it could be like the payoff could be received the week before closing.
Yeah.
And the listing agent didn't know, you didn't interview the listing agent for the buy side. So this is about listing and selling the short sale. Because we, on both sides, we don't know what we're getting into. So now when you take a listing, you're gonna be a really, really good listing agent.
And it happened to me once because it was the son who was sold for the parent and he
I
did
didn't
so.
know, because he's not gonna ask his parent the tough questions.
And right in the front of pass, so it was a line of credit they took out. Turned out okay, but exactly, so those are.
Yeah. So we don't know what we're up against. We really don't. All right, let me stop. Did everyone sign in and get a packet?
Yeah.
Okay. Angela, you signed in.
Yes.
Okay, so everyone signed in. All right.
I haven't signed it yet.
It's always.
Oh, no, this is the wrong sign-in sheet. Okay, 3 people. Doreen, So it's a different sign-in sheet, where'd she go? Because of continuing education, here. It's this sign-in sheet, so Doreen, Angela, and Sarah. Good thing I caught it now, because I can't record it. All right.
Their phone number or email?
Email.
Oh.
Does it?
Yeah.
Yeah, one side it says email, other side it says phone.
People day, you know, once. I was just there about it.
Okay, it's email. All right. In fact, who was the last one? It's two, right? Okay. That was three. Did you sign, Lucy, you signed it? Right, you don't want to sit at a table? It's a lot of notes.
No, there's. And I need you to read. There's more. There's one.
There's a chair right here, there's a chair in the middle, chair. Lots of seats.
I need to read something.
And then give it to Karen.
Oh, I see.
Oh, you did?
It's in the right.
Judy.
That's a different one.
Oh, there's another one? There's two?
No, it's one side.
No, there was one,
It was just
the
one
second page was wrong. Did you sign in the first page with a lot of names or?
Yeah, with a lot of names. Okay.
Guys, hurry, pass it behind you, Angela, Judy's behind you.
Okay.
That's it. I know most of you, actually, I know everyone. Well, I'm not everyone. We've never met.
No, I'm Catherine Ricard.
Oh, I know you.
Oh, yeah.
Showed your property.
Oh,
Poor Marie Jose, when her mother passed.
oh, yes.
Oh,
Yes. I remember.
Yeah. I show one property a year, you don't think I'm. I know, her mother had passed and she was stressing and and it was Christmas and I'm like, I'll go, don't worry. And it was your listing. Yeah, I just wanted to see if there was horses, which is the only reason I went out there. There's no horses.
There's no horses, sorry to disappoint.
But there's a massive turtle or whatever that thing is.
Yes, it's gone now.
So I know every house. I know, it's really weird. Okay, I am your broker. My anniversary date for my real estate license is March. I'll have 25 years in the industry.
Wow.
25 years. Thanks, but it was a 3-year plan because I thought I'd be rich in 3 years and I'd be able to quit, so. So I don't know if we're celebrating that. I really had a 3-year plan. I was like, oh, this is easy. I can do this in 3 years. And I learned everything the hard way. So typically when I'm talking to you, it's from experience. Now, did everyone sign in? Okay. All right. So 25 years in the industry. I've been with 5 different brands, so I have a little bit of experience with brands. I've done over 3,500 transactions, 250 short sales and REOs. I started with regular, then REOs, then short sale, and now nothing. And I've trained 23,000 agents in 21 states from 2010 to 2014. So what I did is I was a traveling 2-day roadshow for short sales or certified investor agent specialist. So one was a short sale class and one was an investor class. And for every 4 short sale classes, I did 1 investor class. I was in a different city every single week for 4 years. So I got to sleep in 50 hotel beds a year, which I don't know if is a good thing. Like, yeah, my son said 50 beds in 1 year. I don't know if I brag about that. It was kind of fun. It was actually a whole lot of fun. I'm so blessed because during that time, I met the top agents during the worst times in our industry. And, you know, because we're the ones who made it through. And those agents were amazing. And many of them were actually had or were losing their own primary homes. It's a lot of them. And I had one agent and he's sitting in the class and he's handing me this big fat envelope with the green stripe, no, it was registered mail. I'm like, why are you giving me that? I said, it's break time. What is it? You're suing me already? And he's like, no, he goes, while we're sitting here, they're confiscating my house. Oh. or I said, this was in Memphis. And I'm like, well, why are you here? He goes, it's done. He goes, well, good. It's my house took my 2 kids through school. It's all good. But I will never let it happen to anyone else. And that's why I'm here. Because it's that experience, right? It's like, no one should have to go through this. Because I want people to leave their homes on their own and with dignity. Not have it taken away from them. Because of some people who did the wrong things and made the wrong decisions in this case. So I met the best agents. When people say real estate is different in different markets and different counties and different states, no, it's not. No, it's not. Because short sales and REOs have nothing to do with the state you're in. There are some laws that affect it, but it's banks that are national, have nothing to do. The banks that, that need to foreclose or need to make their investors whole, they're not state specific. So you have to know what's going on in your own state. And you have to know what's going on in the bank's perspective. So it's a great opportunity to learn. Now, I'm not going to teach you how to do short sales in this class. I'm going to teach you how to differentiate and how to handle the list and to handle the buy side. An actual short sale designation is a separate course. And it shows you how to build your team. It gives and shows you how to use all the right forms. And it goes way more in depth than what we're doing here. This is a taste, so if you encounter it, you can handle it. But if you really want to really delve into short sales and be able to help homeowners out of a difficult situation, get the designation. It's completely different. I mean, it really is focused on the actual short sale transaction. You'll have enough in this class to be dangerous. You'll have enough to recognize it and handle it, but you will not have enough all by itself if you want to make this a niche, because it is a niche, but that's not what this is about. I want you to recognize, get the listing, and service it and hand it off to somebody else. So that's what we're going to be covering today, is how to protect the buyer and the seller. I'm very active in the Realtor Association, so there's lots of acronyms in here. One day I'll have a contest we can count them. But I will tell you that my designations, the CDPE is the short sale designation, Certified Distressed Property Expert. CIS is Certified Investor Agent Specialist. ABR is a Credit Buyer Representative. CRI is Graduate Realtor Institute. EPRO is Technology. CRS is Certified Residential Specialist. SFR is Short Sale Foreclosure Representative. MilRes is Military Residential Specialist, and CQX is Commitment to Excellence, which is a broker course. And then Realtor Association of Palm Beach is Florida Realtors, NAR Federal Political Coordinator, and Grievance and Professional Standards. So very active, and for all the 14-hour things that we do, you know how you have to do your 14 hours? I'll do the 14 hours, but I'll get a designation. So I'll pay for the designation, which includes the 14 hours, might just get to add more initials. Don't need it because I don't sell. Right. It's not going to help you sell, but does it give you an education? Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And so for teaching, it works for me. So that's my background. So I have a lot of experience with short sales. So what is a distressed property? Your handouts follow this hopefully closely. What is a distressed property? It could be in foreclosure. It could be, yeah. What else?
Just behind on.
Could be behind in payment. The homeowner could be distressed. So there's two topics here, right? It's the homeowner and it's the property. So it could be the property and it could be the homeowner going through the process. So we typically call it a distressed property if it's somewhere in the process. It doesn't mean the property is falling apart. Although typically, if the homeowner can't afford anything, if the homeowner is going through a situation, they can't afford to keep it up. So it could be, but it doesn't mean that the property is physically distressed. What's the difference? Are you signing in for CEUs? Okay, what's the difference? What is an REO? It's in the next one. What is an REO?
It's when the bank.
Yeah, it's owned by the bank. The banks call it real estate. owned. REO is real estate owned by the bank. Or whoever confiscated the property. And a short sale, what's the difference between short sale and REO?
So it's underwater,
So it's so
Sure.
is when it's not really gone through the process completely, it could just be just the beginning, just a bit stressed, just the, I'm having trouble, but you've already dipped into the process.
So a short sale means someone is gonna
Wanna
be
get
shorted the money that they're owed.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. Someone's gonna be shorted. If I owe you 500,000 and I give you 400, you have a short sale? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We're short. Because there's no equity gain. So a short sale just means someone is gonna be shorted. I don't have to foreclose on it. Does it have to be in foreclosure for me to do a short sale listing? No, we just already know that they're short. It's not being foreclosed on. No one's doing anything, but we know we gotta get from under. So we just know someone's gonna be shorted some money. A lot. The bank's perspective is, I do not want this house. I want cash. I don't want to own it. I don't want my name on it. I don't want to pay taxes. I want nothing to do with this property. Please take it away from me. Don't force me to take this house. Now, back in the wild, wild west, when we started short sales, the bank didn't get it. They just did not get it. They're like, close. I'm like, oh my God. We have more inventory than we do cash. And that can't happen. Those banks will get shut down. They have to have cash. And it's usually a ratio because they get audited by the Federal Reserve and there has to be more cash than assets. And so what was going on is it was a complete mess back then because they were taking in too many assets and the value of those assets was going what? Up or down? Down. Even the stuff they were taking in was going down. And if they threw everything back on the market, what do they do to the market? They take the market down, which takes their inventory. They were in a lose-lose situation back then. So we finally learned how to handle those short sales so that the bank didn't have to take it. And they respected the agents that they had relationships with, and it was difficult at the beginning. But it took 4 or 5 years to get this down to a science. So what you're learning right now is what we know and the bank know. They already know what works. The little challenge, we've got a little bit of a challenge right now because all the people who did the processing back then are gone. Right? Because during the pandemic, the short sale departments were shut down. The loan officers were thrown out. I mean, the banks are shutting down. The brick and mortar, everything is squeezing, right? Because the banks don't have the people in there anymore. So we're going to have a little bit of a challenge at the beginning, but we're going to learn how to handle those. So we're not going to be processors, but we'll learn how to handle it. So the bank's perspective is, please get rid of the house for me. I'll pay you. I'll pay you because I don't want the value to go down anymore. And the more we take in, the more we're bringing down the value of our own assets. And they don't want that either. So the banks are here for us this time. The whole thing about listing, any listing, is preparation. Preparation is the key to success. Don't go in there and wing it. Learn your craft. Go in there prepared. Go in with data. Go in with knowledge. But go in prepared. And be ready to ask the right questions. It's a lot more involved than what you do on a listing presentation now. This is not, let me see how pretty your house is. This is not what upgrades did you do. That's not what this is. And does it affect any certain class of our population?
No.
Any certain type of property?
No.
Any certain type of loan? No. When I was traveling, probably once a quarter, California and Florida were battling for first place in short sales and REOs back then. Sometimes we were in first place, sometimes California was in first place, but it was a battle. We won. But it was a good thing or not, but we won. Florida won. But I'd go out there, and the first time I went to this place about 6 times, but the first time I went out there, You guys know where Orange County is?
Yeah.
Do you know how wealthy Orange County is? There is this big high-end shopping center called the Island. I don't know if you guys have. And there's a hotel in there. And in front of the hotel is nothing but Rolls, Bentleys, all high-end cars. It is amazing. And I taught in there, short sale class. I'm looking around, and I'm like, okay, the only cars I saw up front were high-end cars. Those were the people sitting in the class. I'm like, what's going on here? They're like, we're all losing our houses here. Oh my God, you pulled up in the Rolls. Yeah, we live in it. I'm not joking. Because the values in California, well, you know, California. The values in California were like ridiculous. I mean, like in 2005, we thought ours were high. We thought our houses were like crazy in 2004, 5, and 6. Out there, it was tripling. It's ridiculous, and then they couldn't sell them. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what bracket you're in. It will affect anyone. Because the reason why you have short sales and foreclosures is something happened to their income and their inability to pay that note. Does stuff happen to everybody? What kind of stuff happens to people where they can't make their payments? Plus,
Sickness.
what else?
Children.
Children, yeah.
Yeah.
And the family left behind, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, does that happen in Florida? What else?
Divorce.
Divorce. It took 2 people to qualify for that note. One's no longer there.
I'll say push status sometimes they only do, some for one parents, they can go back to work.
There's, look, all these things happen. It's not about the recession, which just aggravates those things, right? Because the recession just forces people into those situations. But divorce, death, everything you talked about, loss of a job, all those things are happening all the time. So it's not that the short sale or the foreclosure goes away. It's just our threshold is always 6%. If the market is under 6% for REOs, we consider ourselves normal. That's normal. So 6 out of every 100 houses will be a short sale or a foreclosure. That's normal. But we're at an 8 and 9% now. Now back when we were in the recession, it was 50 to 52% short sales and REOs. Northport, Florida, 62% foreclosures. That's more than every other house. More than every other house. Port St. Lucie was 35 and 40%. 2 houses on every block were in foreclosure.
Wow.
Yeah, because remember what happened was see if this sounds familiar. Dade and Broward County, they couldn't afford their houses because it was too expensive. So they decided to move to Port St. Lucie because the houses were much cheaper and you can get more house for your money. Does that ring a bell? Right. But they still work in the other counties. So when the recession hits or they lose their job, they're going to abandon those houses up there because they can't drive to work or there may not be any work and they're going to go back to where they came from. And that's how Port St. Lucie ended up in that mess. Does that sound familiar now that people are buying in Port St. Lucie? They lose their job and we've got the same thing. We've got the same thing. The only thing different here is the reason why the prices are gonna go down. And I don't think our prices are gonna go down like it did before, not like 50%, which is what we had before. But you will need to do the adjustment, and we're gonna talk about that. The closing, we'll talk about the closing. The closing is a little different. Can't play games with dates. You can't play games with dates right now, but this person could end up in foreclosure and lose everything. So it's way more critical here than a regular closing. And then we're going to talk about the buyers. Buyers offer and acceptance and interview. So the number one challenge right now is the level of sales skills of the co-op agent and the listing agent. That's where we're going to have I want to say opportunity, we just have to be helpful to the other side. Look, we all want the same outcome. So we're not gonna be confrontational or condescending or rude. We're going to go in and help and fix it and move on. And if you can, recruit. We talk about shift all the time. Number 11 in the shift book is master the market of the moment. This may not be the market of the moment. This may be the market of the next 3 months or 6 months. Not of the moment. Now, I was talking to one of our agents today that only works with investors. I was talking to Julie, a top agent here. And her investor is out of the picture right now. All her income came from like one investor. And now she's working with asset, what's the name of them? Asset managers and I get the other one, two groups of investors that liquidate properties. And so I asked her, I'm like, why is there such a demand for this talent right now? She goes, because they're getting ready. They're getting ready to liquidate and go. I'm like, oh, that's great. She goes, yeah, this is the year that they're getting ready. They weren't concerned last year, but they're getting ready now. We don't know the market, wherever it's going to go. We know where we are now. We're feeling it. Are your appraisals coming in at 100% or over the sale price? No, not anywhere close. No. So we're already feeling it. Are the banks tightening down? Yes. Are the confidence of buyers and sellers, is it declining? Yeah. Everyone's on the fence, right? I was like, what are we waiting for? I know buyers, buyers are waiting for us to crash. We're not going to crash. When someone says crash, I think 50%. I'm like, to me, that's a sale. It's not a crash. It's not going to go like that. But everyone's watching Florida right now. The country is watching Florida. We typically lead the way because of vacation homes, secondary homes, investment properties. So our people will bail before anyone, and we have a lot of international buyers. So the squeeze starts in Miami. All those condos that are owned by international people, they drop out. When they drop out, those prices go down. It pushes up. And you can just, it's like a slow wave. We can see it happening. Because if the condos down there push down, it pushes down the values here, it pushes down our luxury. Luxury pulls back and says, oh, not now, I'll just wait. You're a luxury specialist. Is it less traffic now or?
Less traffic.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Sure.
So you can just sit back and watch. So you need to know where we're going. And then we'll talk about the default. So back to 2006 and 2008, the reason why we crashed, and it was a crash, it was 50%, 50 cents on the dollar. It was a crash. It was wonderful. I lived in Olympia. I bought when it was brand new, 2002, moved in 2003. My property was 400,000. 2005, it was worth 900,000. Wow. Did I take out the equity? Oh, yeah. But six investment properties. No one's told me that you never take the equity out of your primary residence. Never. Never. Do not leverage your home for investment properties, which I did. Nobody told me. Did everything lose value in 2007? Yeah, my nice $800,000 house was worth $400,000, but I owed $800,000. And then I had 6 other properties that I probably paid $200,000 each for, and they were worth about $50,000. And so the only way to salvage my primary residence was to sell off the other ones at a loss. Now, what I did was a strategic short sale, which you're not supposed to do. But I did. Because I told the bank, I can't hold on to these. I'm gonna let it go. You either help me or you don't. And guess what they said? You're on your own. I let them go. Nothing else I could do. Couldn't. But then I had a great investor, a family, and he had 4 or 5 people, my best friends, and they would buy these condos at the price they're going for 40 and 50,000. Some of them are going to go with 25,000, this was in Boynton Beach in the Meadows. And so my investor family, which I love them to pieces, they would buy one at a time every month with their American Express card.
Well,
Wow.
Why not?
we can sell it for.
And they were renting for 1,000 a month and they could pay off the card with,
Yeah.
at one time. So every month, because it was a family, they were buying with American Express. I'm like, I love you. And they bought my units. And then they bought about 4 or 5 other ones. Yeah. And it was wonderful back then. So I did, that's what I call strategic car, because I already had some of here. But back then, it was our creative loan that caused the problem back then. You didn't have to have any kind of skin in the game. It was crazy. We had interest only loans. We had arms. We had no docs. What do we have now? Do we have interest only? Do we have arms? Do we have no doc loans now? You know what a no doc loan is?
Yeah.
No proof of your income. Let me see your bank account. Let me see what you've got in there. Do we have that now?
Yeah.
Yes, we do. Oh, yes, we do. Adjustable rate mortgage. So for the first couple of years, you pay interest only. And then when it matures 3, 4, 5 years, then you get the full payment. Do we have that now?
Now, yeah.
We have all of these things back. They're all back. Did we learn? The problem with these is no skin in the game, right? Do we have loans where they put like a very small amount down, like 3.5%?
Yeah.
Do we have those? Yep, please all say yes.
Yeah.
Say yes. Where are they called? FHA. Is there any skin in the game? 3.5%. Will I walk from it? Uh-huh. There's not enough in there. I'm not losing anything on them. We're back. Now, it takes 3 to 5 years for this to happen, but we're on that path. All right. Can we control it as realtors? No. We're like, not about you, right? But that is why the banks are so careful. Used to do as much as 125% loan to value. So we would loan, if the appraisal came in 125% above, and we would give them the loan. So they'd walk away with nothing down and 25% in equity, which was even worse. But some of the things we back there was crazy. This says no doc, no credit, no job. We used to call those, well, there was no doc loans. And then, oh, ninja. We call them ninja loans. These no docs, no income, no job, no docs, ninja. Good luck. But we did that because of their bank account showed. I mean, we're doing that now. So this was back then, and there was a lot of creative financing back then. That was back then. That's all pre-cash. I mean, pre-crash, right? They got a good faith estimate. We didn't have the 3-day break back then. You know how you have to have the clear to close and then you're 3 days out. You could go all the way up to the closing date. You're sitting at the closing table and they're changing the HUD right there to a different type of a loan. And they're like, oh, it's okay. Just sign. Now, when you take a homeowner all the way to closing, will they sign anything you put in their face? Right? It's a homeowner. It's head of household. They've got kids and family and they've all seen their brand new house. Do you think they're gonna, oh, the interest rate went from 8 to 11%. You okay? You're only gonna pay interest only for the next 5 years. Don't worry. You'll do a refi afterwards. Remember, the prices are all going up. Don't worry. Trust me. Is your buyer gonna sign that? But they really do. And I know I've been at a closing table. I'm like, I don't think you should. Dolores, you're just a real estate agent. I know the big officer said, yes, this works, but I can do a refi in 5 years. I'm like, mind your business. You're like, stay in your lane. Now, I was a market broker. I had my market broker's license. But when they say stay in your lane, I'm like, see you in 5 years.
Yeah.
We'll close now, but I'll see you. They wouldn't come back to me, because they're embarrassed. They're not gonna come back and say, "You were right." But it happened all the way up to closing. Now you have a 3-day break. But they can't make those changes at the last minute. They can't pull a fast one on your buyer. And this is not with cash, this is only if there's financing. So if you get a cash buyer, you need to hug them all the way to closing. There's none of this. Get the love on that cash buyer. But, and we didn't take the time to explain to our buyers. So when you do that buyer interview, how long do I always suggest that interview? should be? I mean, I really need you. I don't care how experienced they are. They might have gone through this the last time. So just, you need to take the time to explain what the process is. And that 3-day clear to close, explain everything to them. We didn't do it back then. We were rushing so fast and so hard to get them into a house. Remember that 5 years ago? This was in 2005. We couldn't get them into a house fast enough. And then we ended up in a short sale. How much did I pass? Okay, so this is back then. So we put them into a short sale, we helped them avoid foreclosure, we helped them leave the house with dignity, and I'll never say home with a homeowner. I would never say home, especially if they're losing their house. Can't tell them they're losing their home, it's always house or property or unit. I called everything a unit, I'm like, it's just a thing. It's just a unit. I wouldn't even take the listing in the unit. They could come into my conference. I would not go into that place. Because I couldn't talk to them. They were too busy looking around. They're looking at the fridge with the pictures. I couldn't even go in there. Whatever memories are in that house, I couldn't go in there. I didn't care what it looked like. Didn't make a difference to me. Bedroom, the bath, the front yard, neighborhood. Too easy to do a CMA on that. So I had to remove them from it. Now here's the other really weird thing. Let me talk about MIFTA. MIFTA is the Mortgage Forgiveness Debt Relief Act. Mortgage Forgiveness Debt Relief Act. We called it MIFTA. I just thought it was a cute name for a dragon. Mortgage Forgiveness Debt Relief Act. Now, if you write it down, I'll tell you what's on. Longer in existence. But what it was is, when you did the short sale, you had to ask the bank or servicer to please let me stop paying for this house. And even if they did, it's considered income according to IRS. So if I owe 500,000 and we sold it for 250, I would get a 1099 saying that I owe IRS taxes on an income of 250,000. Look, I just did a short sale. I'm broke. I'm beyond broke. So during those times, IRS had an act called Mortgage Forgiveness Debt Relief Act. So when we asked the servicer to please let us out of this loan, I always add with dignity, because you're not evicting me. Also release the debt. And this allowed us to do it as long as we could prove that the person was insolvent. What does insolvent mean? What is insolvent mean? What is insolvent mean?
File bankruptcy. They don't have to.
Insolvent.
It's paying their bills. Bankrupt.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm insolvent. So fancy. I'm insolvent. Broke. I can't make my mortgage payment. That's why I'm leaving this place. I'm broke. I'm insolvent, but you have to prove it to IRS for them to relieve you of the debt. And there were some other things. It couldn't be an investment property. It had to be your primary residence. But basically, you wouldn't have to pay tax on it. Now, there's nothing more shocking than getting removed from your home and then getting a bill for what you owe IRS. Because people are like, never mind, I'm done. right? But they're not. We'll talk more about it. Credit reporting. So if you look at a credit report, it tells you certain things about your bills, especially if you don't pay them. It tells you, write off, charge off, it tells you, but there's no category for short sale, none. None. Not back then and not now, which is a good thing. But foreclosure can stay on your credit report up to 7 years. Now it stays in public records for life. I can go back and look up someone's name in public records and it's gonna show, it's gonna show foreclosure, nothing I can do. But on your credit report, it can only stay up to 7 years. And we're gonna talk about how to have that conversation with your seller, because they're gonna be like, oh, I'm not gonna worry. I'm never gonna buy another house again. So we're gonna say that, really? You are gonna buy another house. But regardless, let's say you don't buy another house. When you leave this one, if you get foreclosed on and it hits your credit, you're moving in with your parents? Because you can't rent? Because you've got a foreclosure. What else can't you do? Besides rent, what else can't you do with foreclosure on your credit report? Can't buy a car. Well, you could, interest rate of 32%. I don't think about 28%, I think it's the highest for the user.
Can't get some jobs.
You can't get some jobs. What jobs are gonna check your credit report? Accountant. Security, clearance, finance, banks. What else? Banks, finance, what else? Airports. What else? Law enforcement? Law enforcement, they're gonna check your credit. You know who checks your credit? Publix or any grocery chain or food chain with a cashier. The cashiers. Yeah, because you're handling money.
Wow.
Right? So I guess you're never gonna change job. I got a great job. Who you work for, FAA? You know? I had one who was a commercial pilot. And he's like, I'm set for life. I'm like, what do you work for? And he told me, and he's commercial pilot. And we were like, do we foreclose or do we do short sales? He's like, you know what? It doesn't matter. I'm good, got a good job, not worried. I'm like, I used to work for Eastern Airlines. You guys know where Eastern Airlines is? They're gone.
Yeah.
Right. It's shut down. You're not secure in anything. You don't know what's gonna happen in this world. So if it shows on your credit report, you're ever gonna buy your phone, rent, get electricity, they're gonna check your credit report, you're gonna get insurance, they're gonna everything. Now, short sale, nope, nobody knows. They know you were late on your payments. But you're not high risk yet. What's a deed in lieu? What's a deed in lieu of foreclosure?
Yeah.
What's a deed in lieu? What does that mean?
I
Give
give
the house
you
back
the
to
house, give you the deed.
Is it a foreclosure?
Yeah.
It's a very friendly foreclosure. It's agreed upon. No, it's a foreclosure.
You just drop off the.
It's, yes. Instead
Instead
of
of giving
fighting
it
over it,
foreclosure,
you're
still
giving
another-
it. It's still a foreclosure. Lieu is a foreclosure. It's a nice foreclosure. It is reported as deed in lieu, but it's still a foreclosure. It's still. You still.
On your record.
With who you.
Deed in lieu is on your credit report, and people know foreclosure.
Oh.
It's not. But I had to evict type of foreclosure.
But you do that with the bank. Oh,
Yeah,
you
well,
do
they're
the
all
transaction.
of this is the bank.
Okay.
It's all the bank. When you close on a short sale, your seller has to sign everything because he's still on the deed. When you do a deed in lieu, your seller signs it with the bank. But a foreclosure, the bank takes it over. Now, it won't show on your tax records. Because even though they own it, they don't file it. They don't want anyone else to know that they own it. So it takes a while between when they take it over and when they actually take possession. So it doesn't show right away on a foreclosure, but it will eventually, they can get rid of it. But short sale, your seller still owns the house all the way. So he signs everything, the bank approves it. In a foreclosure, the bank has already taken over. The seller might live there. I may not have evicted the seller. And it still shows in the seller's name. But when we do a, when we do a pencil search, we will see it. We will see who really owns the house. And to clean all of this up back there, when we were doing short sales, they created the Dodd-Frank Act, and it was to help with all the issues on the way we handled the bank's foreclosure process. So the Dodd-Frank Act restricted the emergency lending or bailout authority of the Federal Reserve, prohibiting lending to an individual entity and prohibiting lending to insolvent firms, requiring approval of, anyway, a whole bunch of stuff between banks and the sale process. So now we're at 2020. Pre-crash loan products are all gone by 2020, almost all, but we still have FHA and those things. So all that fancy lending is probably gone by then. Our ARM rates had standards, so they changed it, so it was safer for us. And then Dodd-Frank funded for the Federal Reserve, and so there's a whole bunch of new laws. The Consumer Protection Finance Act came out of that. The 3-day clear to close, all that came out of Dodd-Frank Act. So that helped stop mortgage companies and lenders from taking advantage of consumers and doing all those last minute changes and taking advantage of people. So that helped clean all of that out before 2020. So that was kind of interesting. And then the big banks started eating up the little banks, and this is where we are. So generally, we recovered. Prices nationwide says it fell 33%. Of course, we know Florida and California dropped 50%. So in the first 2 years, all the different states were looking at Florida saying it's your problem because of your hurricanes and your creative financing. 2 years later, it's like, okay, we got it. It came up here. Y'all brought it here, but it came up here. Like we didn't bring it. You have the same banks. The banks are not based in Florida. The banks are based all over the United States. We just have more buyers and sellers here. So we got hit first. We also had a trifecta because we had those 3 angry women in 2005, which didn't help us. What were the 3 angry women? Francis, Jean, and Wilma. That year, yeah. And then Katrina came the following year, 2005. Well, Katrina was 2005. I think Wilma was 2006.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. But Wilma was an October storm. So between the first 3 storms, and so like from September to October of the next year, we technically have 4 angry women. We did. They're all women. The thing with Florida is that we didn't recover from the first 3 storms. We had new tarps all over the place. The insurance companies were a problem. And then, of course, Wilma just came in and cleaned everything up for us. And then by then we had the crash. So we didn't have time to recover and fix these properties. And then so we have like the storms, so blue tarps everywhere. And then we have the prices crashing. And then we tried to repair some of these houses from the storms. We ran out of drywall. So we went to Asia to get drywall. Well, Home Depot did, to get drywall. And then when they were repairing the houses so we could sell them, we had. So we had a couple of challenges going on. It was fun, even if I could sell it for half price, I couldn't. Because have you ever smelled a house that has defective drywall?
No, it's all.
That suffers. You've never gone in there.
No.
You open the door and it just hits you and you just have to walk out because you cannot breathe. I mean, it's worse than.
Is it acidity? Well, how does it smell?
Oh, this has.
Yes.
It attacks, the Chinese drywall has a chemical that attacks all the metal inside the walls. And so the metal start corroding and the smell comes out. And it smells like about 20 dozen rotten eggs. Yeah. When you open the door, it just goes, whoop, and you've got to get out. You can't stay in there.
It has to.
Every wall, every piece of metal, even if you had furniture. It'd be under furniture. It was awful. There was a subdivision, you might know it, Canyons. On Jock, south of Boynton, so in there, they sued GL Homes, and GL Homes wanted to fight it. Now, the north side was Northeastern Homes, but GL wanted to fight it, and so I worked for a company that put these people into temporary housing, and then they sued back to get the money back from the insurance company. But I had one couple and she was pregnant and didn't know they had Chinese drywall, and her baby was born defect.
Oh.
Yeah, and so she got the biggest lawsuit, but still, you can't pay for a sick baby.
Yeah.
It was just awful. We had so much going on here. We're so blessed. So, we rebounded. 35% of the homeowners did lose their homes. That's foreclosed. That's not short sale. So 35% did lose their homes. Now, we have another 65% that might be being hit again. So banks want short sales. So know that. No, they do not want to foreclose. People always say, oh, the bank wants to take my house. No, they don't. They want you to pay your bill. They send you lots of notices. They want you to pay the bill. And I always tell my clients, if you see someone come to your front door with an envelope and they pound on your door, please let them in and take the envelope. And they go, you've been served. Please take it. Because if you hide, you're still served. And I need to know what it says in that document. Because if I've listed your property, I need to know when the sale date is. I can only help you if I have time. Otherwise, I have to call part of my team and I'm going to have to get a foreclosure defense attorney. If we're like 10 to 20 days close to a sale date, I can't help you. But I do have people that work with me. So you have to have your team ready. But I need to know when they knock on the door, please take the envelope. It's not good news, but it's news that I need to be able to help you. And I know when they come to the door, everyone turns off their TV and sits there and freezes. Don't sign, don't move, don't sign, don't go down to the door, don't move. It doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way. Not that nice. Close the blinds, and then you look out. Short sale. The bank or the investor. So a bank could either be the originator of the loan, or they could have sold it and now they're the servicer for the investor who bought the note. So it's either a bank or a servicer, or it could be both. But someone is talking to you about the loan. So it's either the bank or the servicer. It will not be the investor. So you might have got the loan, I'll say, with Bank of America. Bank of America sold the note to an investor, but Bank of America gets paid by the investor to service it. So it looks like Bank of America is still the owner, but they may not be. So sometimes people don't know who really owns it. I don't care, just give me a copy of your bank statement. Give me a copy of the whatever statement you get that says this is your payout, this is what you owe. That's what I need to get started. So it could be a servicer and bank, they're interchangeable. The investors who we have to convince. Now, like co-op agents, I can't go straight to the investor. I have to go through the middle person, which is the bank or the servicer, and then they talk to their investor. So it's just like me talking to a seller from the buy side. I have to go through the listing agent. So I have to be able to commit and tell them my story so that they can take it to the investor. And the investor goes, all right, I'll give it up. So I need to have a compelling story. On REOs, the bank takes it back. So that's completely different. They'll buy it back at the sale or the auction. They wait a couple of weeks. And then they get it ready to close. So it takes a whole lot longer to get that REO once it becomes a foreclosure, because the banks have to go through a lot of steps to get it back on the market. They have to make sure there's no other lien holders. Could there be more than one lien holder? Yes. Sure. Can someone have two mortgages? Yes. Sure. Can they owe the HOA? Yes. Banks don't like HOAs. They don't like them. So you might have a problem with that. Could there be what's a HELOC?
It's a line of credit.
Home equity line of credit. Is that becoming popular? Yeah. I just feel like I'm in a time warp and I'm going back to the future. We had no HELOCs for years. And they're back. HELOC. Fifth Third Bank has like a 2% HELOC. I'm like, what? They're telling people, don't do a refi, just get a HELOC. A refi is going to take you up to 6%. I can do a HELOC for 2%. Here we go. I'm like, what is wrong with you? So when the when the bank gets it back as a foreclosure, they've gone through the auction, they've taken it back. Nobody wants it now. We're in a declining market. You don't buy them now. And investors are quick. So when it goes up for auction, no one trusts that warranty deed anymore. Because will that deed come with more encumbrance? Yeah, because when they don't clear everything when it goes into foreclosure. So they're like, oh, there's an HOA, there's a HELOC. Let me get someone to auction it off real quick. And then, so it's a $500,000 house with a $400,000 note, a $200,000 HELOC, and an HOA of $50,000. Jess, want to auction this? I'll give it to you for 400. We do. She gets it. She gets it. No clear title, but she just got everything else with it.
Oh,
Oh, it's not clean. Those auctions are not clean. You don't know what you're getting. That's the whole problem. But now with the price, when the prices were appreciating, it wasn't bad. Because the longer you held on to it, the more it was appreciated. But we're not in that market this month. We're not in that market. So we're going to start seeing the auctions start slowing. Well, they're already slowing down. I've already seen them. Loss. So there's going to be a loss. What's nice about this market is if they bought the house 5 years ago, you think there's some equity in it now. Yes. Yeah. So it may not be a short sale. We may be now, the bank could have started the process. They could have, but we can tell the bank, you're going to be whole. Give me 60 days, I'll make you whole. Stop the process. They will. They'll give you time. So there's a good chance, not only will they be made whole, but my seller can walk away with something. The problem is I have to stop that process. There's no way you could close without making them whole. So if there was equity in the property, so I could sell it for 500, but they owe 400. But they're in the foreclosure process because they missed 6 payments. Well, they're only 3 payments. They could start the foreclosure process. I could list the property, promise the lender, hold on with your auction. Give me 60, 90 days and I'll make you whole. I will make you whole because they won't let me close, right? Because they have to close the deal, right? I have to give them a payout. I can make them whole, just stop the process for this is how much time I need. And you give them all the documentation to go with it. So I still have to provide everything, but I'm asking them to slow it down. So when the bank hires an attorney, it's not a regular attorney. It's a foreclosure attorney, and he's got one goal in mind. You think it's to help you buy the house? Because y'all have a tendency to come to me and you say, oh, there's an attorney. Should I contact the attorney? Go ahead. What kind of an attorney do you think it is? It's a foreclosure attorney. Once you see it, it's a foreclosure attorney. His job is not to fix the bank. His job is to do what? It's a race between me and him. He's not there to help me. So when you see a foreclosure attorney, they're not your friend. They work for the bank told them to foreclose, and that's their job. They won't get paid. So don't try to contact that attorney. That attorney is on a mission. He's way better than you are. Oh, that's what he does. Those foreclosure attorneys, that's all they do. But there's a time frame. Every state has different time frames. We're all from the same state, so it's much easier to talk to you guys because our process is the same. If there's a gain, okay, we're good. We can sell it and we can get our money back. So we're good with that one. That's it. Yeah. All right. Okay,
There it is.
okay, that was weird. Banks are not in the business of taking houses into inventory, doing so could impact their reserves, so I'm not gonna go into, okay. So let's do a 5-minute break and then we're gonna come back and do this exercise.
Thank you.
5-minute break and then we'll do it. No, I know you didn't.
No, I mean, the sheet that, everybody working off of.
The funny sheet?
No, I have this one, that sheet.
The back end.
Yeah, that.
Oh.
You just got that.
I'm ready. But he's. Is there more?
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't.
Yeah. Let me go ask them.
Thank you.
This one. But she did. She probably don't have it. Oh, no. Awesome.
What's going on?
No, that's sure.
Tell me some good news now, but don't give me.
And it's just, you know, it's real estate.
Sorry, she did.
You did good.
She said there was two. Yeah, that might be it, yeah. You can grab it, the pad on the bottom, the yellow pad in mine.
So you just can't put it stuff, because you don't need the credit, do you?
No, I'm just trying to find more short sales.
So, goodness, they sent their offer, but.
And what is, comments?
400. Yeah, I think they're, just trying to test the water. I did. And then I talked to the seller and, you know, I had to put this offer. And I did count with them.
What is he counting?
I'm standing for 30.
Yeah, I don't want to drive it fast a little bit.
He owes. Away.
Franco, put your letters down, so they can. They can email you a copy.
Can't go low, because it's practically like a bell. I mean, like a little bit.
Hey guys, even if you, Franco, hey, on, hey, what's going on, guys? Perhaps, not even she wanted to go 5,000, because I mean, why they can't get some?
Because I just talked to the neighbor, he thinks the open house, he wants to offer like 370. So I went over the comps again. He has a personal issue because he wants to move here.
Wait, the agent is the one who offered, so the agent you deal
The buyer, because when I talked to her yesterday, she said they're gonna come in and have, he don't wanna pay that. Because it's an open house, he didn't pay that. He said that. But he has a personal interest. So if she didn't have to pay so much stuff, like solar panels, HOA, I would have. Somebody like girl, I think about. And then everybody else called. Well, remind, telling me.
It's not up yet, it's gonna be real soon.
Southwest District.
Mine.
Got somebody? Three.
Because you know, you still got soil down on the other side.
Me too. Three.
Yeah, so. It reminds me of seeing how some value.
I've been.
So it's price on the down. It had its time. Yeah. I know.
And what's the people that-
But she, yesterday, I was like. You're gonna be now. Oh, yeah. It's like. I have to go through the contract first, when you say anything. So I said, have you got to that way? I'll tell her if it's gonna win that contract, I can send it to my daughter. And she said, oh, they give them 8 o'clock at night, and we'll send it sometime in the night, and she sent it in the morning time. And I'm looking at it, I'm like. Yeah, like, what did? And then I texted her and I said, really? Are you gonna talk her out? She was angry.
I thought I was bad.
She's like, yeah. I said,
I
"Okay,
can make
I'll
it
send
still.
my." Y'all wanted that, wanted for it was 300. No.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be here. The day we-
Oh, this is part of your,
Well, I finished up from the house, so that's why I'm here. I can take some. You know, they don't look right, but this day.
so this is the last, like.
I
we're
think-
gonna go into two.
Yeah, but I think he can, take another. Like on the class, years off.
My son do that. He made me do it.
Waiting on the repairs. Hey.
He made me do it. I can't stop me. Cause he had to leave, he said, just take the whole bowl. I didn't have it. And Jacob don't touch where else.
So by the way, that child, we have a review chat. It's across the street from. You do, but he has a contract on it. And he said that they had to push the. He said they had to push the closing date back twice, and the seller is frustrated. And.
Thank you. Don't see me again. That was my father. We can throw them there, that's not so bad. What the fuck? Skills.
Type of people that look tired.
Is that shakeups?
Yeah.
He said, just take the whole bowl.
Where's this other stuff I can?
Just skills, right? Yeah. You. I know. I didn't, all I was saying, I don't know what to do with the band. We all have. Oh, I didn't really. Yeah. But it's
I don't know.
I know you don't want me to leave it here, so you can whatever you want.
No, it is.
Yeah, just don't look at it.
In front of me.
It'll go away, it'll go away.
We have 2 hours left. Right now.
Yeah, tomorrow is the last day.
Oh, it's right. You have to do all 3?
No, we've been doing it since, you know, but.
She's also, you know, that's actually,
We have November, I think, November, we have. a great-
But it's,
you know, we come in there and then, and then she put it,
good.
yeah. Here, so.
So we're gonna start that.
It's supposed to end this week.
It's Facebook.
tomorrow's our last one.
So it's done in a.
They do this every month.
Right.
Right, you just wanted to make.
Right. Right.
Right, so one word, on my items,
Right.
or her numbers on the. This one. Oh, that's it.
Right.
I don't know how I did it.
Right.
Get to it, yeah.
All right.
Oh, the lunch.
Yeah. Because we started class with their own. Tomorrow is the test.
Oh, you have it there.
We have a class 12 to 5.
Yeah.
Whoever's not class. My daughter. Yeah, a lot of coffees.
But yeah, so I would have this way of the building and then. And now. You take. Like, I was like three, with levels at eight. I really.
Oh my God, who did this? That was smart. But no. Extra copy of this laying around? Is that extra? Thank you. You sure do?
No, I don't have one.
They're giving hers away.
Oh.
There's extra. But I have this one. This is the original. Copy is broken. So then you can figure that out. Okay.
Maybe I'll get the recording.
If you leave early, I can't give you vacation. Okay. Need it. It's covered. I just initial. Okay, it is recorded. All right, let's do this exercise. I don't know if this is in your booklet. Is it in your booklet? Yes. Yeah. This is the page folder. Page 9. Why does it say page 8?
I don't know.
Because we were on page 8. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Our first scenario, we're gonna fill in the blank.
Okay.
And then we're gonna decide, is it a short sale or not? So the first one. So the first one, the payoff is $290. And I use 8% in closing costs. That includes commission and title. So it's the best guess. So what's 8% of the 290,000? 8%. What's 290,000 times 8%?
23,200.
Okay. Let's go my marker.
It's not that one?
Anything here?
That one?
Yes, where'd it go?
It's in here.
He was, oh, okay. So what do we have? How much is the sale price? Oh, pay off, 290. So they're gonna pay off 290. And what's the 8%?
2,200.
23,200. Okay. And then we have property taxes, 5,000. Cause we still have to pay that off, right?
Yes, HOA is 1,500.
Taxes, HOA, 1,500. Okay,
53,500.
net proceeds to seller. Okay, oh, and the sale price is 350, right? Okay, so we take the 350 and we're gonna subtract everything, and what do we have left?
53,500, that should say.
53,500, I need a second.
Okay.
This minus this, minus this, minus this, minus this. What do we have?
Okay, let me make this.
Is our net 53,500?
Wait,
No.
no, do that one.
No, it's not.
What's our net?
It's minus.
33.
Minus.
Yeah.
30.
30, 30, 30,
Minus
30,300. Yeah.
okay,
Oh, I'm sorry.
do I have a second?
100, that's
Yeah.
correct.
Okay, so we have net proceeds to the seller, is it a short sale?
No.
Do I want to take this listing?
Yes.
What kind of a listing is it?
It's a rental.
Plain ordinary regular listing. Do we all agree?
Yes.
Okay, now, considerations, the appraised value is 325. What happens?
Well, then it's still got
Yeah, it's
that up.
underwater.
If the appraised value comes in low, you just say, oh, okay, we're done. Is that what we do?
No.
No, we're gonna negotiate it, right? But we have a little cushion so we can make this work. If the appraised value did come in at 325, what am I short? 5. This is a listing class, right? What am I short? 25,000. Where do I go first to get that 25,000? Where do I go first to get $25,000?
The seller?
The
They
buyer.
don't have much.
They don't have them.
No, they don't hire.
The buyer
Where do you typically go first?
with the person you are working.
I'm
Buyer.
short 25,000. Where am I gonna go first?
Okay.
The bank.
Yes.
You're guessing.
So that's a gap, so you're gonna ask the agent, can't you pay?
It's our listing, right?
It's
We
our
took the listing, we're okay. It comes in 25,000
Right,
short.
so
Where
it's
do
a
we
gap.
go as listing agents? Right? Go to the website. Guys, you do this stuff. There's no, I'm not testing you. I'm not trying to trick you. The regular listing. I'm gonna go to the buy side. The buy side says, okay, we'll contribute 10,000. How short am I now? 15. Where do I go next?
To the seller.
He's not insolvent. This is not a short sale. Right? So we're gonna negotiate with the seller. Seller goes, okay, I'll give up 10,000. How short am I now? Where do I go now?
The agent.
You.
You go to the
You
lab.
go to the
Where do you go?
Back to the
How
agent.
Who's the last person? Me. Keep your money. You're negotiators. You've got to make this work. If we can't make this work, we're gonna have a problem negotiating a short sale. If you can't make this work, we're gonna have problems, right? Right?
Yeah.
This is a regular sale. There's no big challenge here. Okay. We have lender required repairs of $12,000. Are we okay with that? Can we make that work and can we negotiate it?
Is that included with the appraiser? or-
Doesn't matter.
That's a
Can
different-
we make it work?
Yes.
Yes, we are not in a short sale place. This seller is okay. We are good. It's a regular sale, not a lot of money, but a regular sale. Now I have a list pendants with 2 lien holders instead of just this one payoff. Am I gonna have a problem?
It all depends on what it is.
It depends on,
Yeah, yeah.
because I may have a problem. At this point, I may have a problem. But right now, we're okay. All right, let's go to the second scenario. So what's the sale price?
350.
What's the payoff?
315.
How much?
315.
315. What's the 8% of the 315?
25,200.
25,200. Taxes
5,000.
hasn't changed. HOA
The same.
hasn't changed. What's my net?
3,300. Because I did already.
3,300. Second.
Wow, 3,000 there?
I'll have a second.
Yeah.
3,000?
You got 3,300 in the pocket?
No.
She's right.
Yeah.
Christina, see?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, 3,300, yeah. What type, is it a short sale listing?
Oh, yes.
Actually, I don't know.
No, it's still short sale. It's a short sale. No. Don't know if they want to sell it, but we're not a short sale. Appraised value is 325. Now we have a challenge.
Yes.
We're going to go first for the 25,000.
Buyer.
Go second.
They don't have the money.
Yeah, there's.
The agent?
There's no room here. So we just have the other buyer, the agent, and last. Can we make it work?
Yeah.
So if I had to give up 1%, what's 1% of 350,000? If I had to go from 6% commission down to 5%, what's that one?
3,500.
3,500, can I make it work?
Yeah.
I can if everyone cooperates, I can, right? We can make it work. This is very tight. And if any of the other scenarios are there, then we have a problem because this seller can't afford anything, right? So,
become a short sale, right?
Well,
uh,
can I just,
yeah,
I love this conversation. It gives me flashbacks. So when it really gets, and I hate to say it. It's fun. It's painful for the seller, but it's fun. It's fun negotiating. Is that she's giving you, these are all gravy, by the way. These are easy.
these are very easy.
Yeah, what we were, and someday we could be there, you never know, every situation is different, right? But, so let's just say. You had it's a third scenario, that's really gonna beat them over the
It's
head,
gonna,
right?
that's the one.
That's like,
That's the
okay,
one.
that's like a short sale, but my point is that. The conversation, you're a good negotiator when they're really negative 30, 45 grand, 100 grand, right? And they have the cash or they have a family member that has the cash and you talk them into writing a check. To avoid a short sale, because if someone has money. They don't want a short sale on their credit. And all these, and so most of the people in Palm Beach County, we did more of that than real short sale.
We came to the table with cash.
No, we didn't. They
They
came
did.
to the table.
They'll find the money.
Yeah, and so the way is, then you're having a conversation with, okay, now let's a business conversation. What do you plan on doing with your business? You know, you're a business owner, right? Do you plan on growing your business? Yeah, well, if you have a short sale, forget about it. You're not gonna be able to get a loan to grow your business. So it's like, oh, what do you mean? So they have to go to a family member or go to their savings. To make that deal happen, and you'll be amazed, they will do it.
They'll find the money.
They'll find the money.
Trust me.
Yeah.
You guys are so quick to come to closing and, oh, I'll take some of my commission, I'll do that. Stop. You're just gonna sit back. Remember why am I talking? Remember,
Yes.
wait, you're just gonna sit back and say, well, what can you do to make this work? I love this little scenario, I use these all the time. If your seller leaves and goes out into the parking lot and finds 4 flat tires. And each tire is worth about $2,000. Do you think he'll find that $8,000? Yeah, he's gonna walk away and say, well, you don't pay for it, I'm not doing it. Is that what he's gonna do? Will he find that money? Every time. So stop giving up your money. People have other assets that they can sell. And then they have family.
Yeah, and this, by the way, this is all theory and you're in a classroom. And you guys are used to selling property just the traditional way, you buy a contract and have an inspection and go get paid. This takes usually 3 to 6 to 10 months, 12 months, because you got to get short sale approvals, right?
Yeah.
And then by time, so it's a lot more, it's meaning like, you're gonna have a lot of influence to get them to avoid that and going through this process. But I love what.
This is just getting to the listing. This is
Yeah.
not process. We're just identifying what we need to do.
Right,
We need to interview more. We need to ask more questions. We need to know what we're walking away with nothing as listing agents.
So with the process taking 6 to 9 months or however, you're going through different markets. So that value can be less.
It's always
when
going
you
down.
started with.
bingo. So when you go,
Yep.
by the way, so let's just say, and forget me, this is important. So you're on the listing side, you're taking the listing. Your job this time, you're vetting that buyer like a mother. Like, I mean, they better have more time and more money and patience and be rich, because you want to go to, if you're gonna get in bed with a buyer on your short sale, they gotta go the distance. So you have a conversation with them. So are you okay if the market continues to go down? Are you okay? Are you gonna pay if this appraisal, right? So it changes, right?
It changes
It changes
everything.
all the way down. The bank may not even approve it for a certain number. So it's a moving target, right? You know what we're talking about, right? It's a moving target. So just, this is a great conversation, and like I said in the team meeting today, when you go into the MLS and you see all these properties just sitting there, and then you look on the pictures and you go, that's vacant.
Yeah.
And you look and they're like, they live in, just curious, how many times a year does that seller come to the property as vacant? Oh, they've already moved to so-and-so. But they're not motivated. They want their price. You click on the button of what do they owe? You start doing a little bit more investigation work, you're gonna see the next 6 to 9 months worth of listings there. Those are the homes that are gonna continue to come back up when they expire. See what I'm saying? You're hunting for inventory for the future. So when you see one, you're like, oh my gosh, print it out. Put it in a little thing, a little folder, right? When you
Oh,
see it,
send a note, just send a note.
when it comes up as an no, it's listed. No, if it's listed.
Send a note to yourself.
That's how we used to do it. You never put something like that in writing. Anyway, so seriously though, you really want to like, so when I say what you ought to invest in one thing, go old school,
Oh,
right?
That's it.
Go old school, get a 52-week accordion thing.
That is old school.
So wait,
Exactly what you're saying.
I made hundreds of thousands. No.
No,
A
not.
52-week accordion, right? So, right, so you're calling through expired, you're seeing stuff out there, you're seeing it go from 100 days to 125 days. You call the agent's a weak agent, they're not going to push them for a price reduction. You see how much they owe, right? That's meat on the bone for later, because they're going to want, life's going to happen. So you take that, you print out the MLS sheet, you've made all your notes all over it, right? You figure out a legal and ethical way to understand when that's going to expire. And so I'll give you a script. So it's no legal script.
Yeah.
Give you a script. You're calling expired, or you're calling expired. They say, I've already relisted. And so that's curious, just curious. God forbid, if it doesn't sell again, when would you be interviewing agents in the future? Boom, they'll tell you the date, the month it expired.
They built to the day.
And that's a legal question. Just
Yeah.
curious, when's it gonna?
Wait, are you talking to the seller?
I'm
now?
talking to a seller. They told me they've already relisted. It hasn't hit.
Not on MLS.
yet.
So you don't know.
So you don't know. This is all legit. This
Okay.
is a serious question. You say, just congratulations, and I know that agent. Don't say good or bad. I know that agent. That's great. Congratulations. Just curious, God forbid, if for some reason he or she doesn't sell it, when will you be interviewing agents for the next? Because you want to be the second, especially in this market. It's like yeah,
It's
You wanna be
first
the
car,
second-
second wife,
yeah, you want to be the second, third.
third agent.
If you put it in. If you're not getting that listing when they're motivated as heck to sell and price it right, you don't want to be that first agent that gets beat up.
Right.
You may not even want to be the second, but that third or fourth, they're just so sick of it. They want out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so now with this market, you can actually have fun with that. Get one of those 52-week things. And then at the beginning of the week, you pull out the week and you pull out all the ones you want to.
You know, I'm telling you, that's old school, but here's what it is.
It's not, it's
If
good.
I get a notice on my phone that says you have to be somewhere in an hour, that's nice. I start working on something else.
Right.
And I'll forget about it. But if I'm going through that monthly thing
Right.
where this month or 52 weeks or monthly, however you want to do it, I can pick it up, read my notes, start writing on it, make my phone calls. It's not the same.
Right.
It's, I don't know what it is about touching and feeling it, but I'm taking action. Whereas if I'm just swiping it away,
Yeah. The good news is that we have technology. The bad news is.
We have technology, that's it.
No, it's serious.
That's what it is.
Because when you
That's
take that,
so
it's
true.
it's like if you do it Sunday night and you grab that folder. No,
You're prepared for Monday.
You've enjoyed your week, you grab that folder, you left it all in the field, you pick it up, you go, oh my God, these people are
Got
expiring.
all of them.
You're gonna get excited. Guess what you do? You go see them. You do, hey, I'm in your neighborhood. Boom, come on over. That's a different listing appointment. You see? And
So
so then
different.
you've already got all these notes on the thing, on the piece of paper,
Yes,
you see? And now you know where they really are. You do a quick little CMA, you go back out there and you're gonna get the listing.
does that separate you from another agent?
Bingo.
Yeah.
It is so different.
Already there.
This is such a different way to approach it. And when I say you need to become experts in listings, you need to have the facts.
Yeah.
Cause you need to go and prepare. Like if I look at this, even if I'm on the buy side, I bring in a buyer at 350. Can I do the math if I'm on the buy side?
Yeah.
Do I see a problem with this?
Yeah.
On the buy side, I'm calling up the other agents. Like, can we talk? Cause I want to bring a buyer to this, but I have a couple of questions because I'm concerned and I want to make this work for both of us. Look, I'm not confrontational. I'm not telling you how ridiculous they were for taking this. to people. But that hurts. You're laughing. But it's serious. This is when me and the other agent have to get together and pull this through, right? Because I've got the buyer and I have a serious buyer and I want to make it work, but I just ran the numbers and I have some concerns. Are we ready if this doesn't work? These are slam dunks. Let's do the last one.
That's scary.
What is it? Oh, you already did. All right. What's the payoff?
25. But that's already 25.
Now, could I bought the house at 350 and put 3.5% down because I'm an FHA buyer, and then somewhere along the way, the value went up and I did a HELOC or I took some money out or built a pool, or even I have a PACE loan for $35,000 new storm windows.
Yeah.
Could this happen? Could I have gotten the loan and it could have taken it up there, a new roof? Could anything have gone from here to here?
Yes.
Or guess what? Yes, so that's our problem, right? Okay, 8%.
34,000.
That didn't change, did it?
I know.
How did the 8% change?
No, because it's at the 3.
Because you're the. No.
It's still, it's still like this, so it's still the same. Round two.
Yeah.
No, yeah, they're both
No,
wrong.
it's 425 times 8%.
No, this is the sale price. This one's wrong too. I just know you. On sale price.
So the first one is wrong as well. Everything is wrong.
Because.
Okay. Fire.
Then it's 28,000. $28,000. Yeah.
Taxes. 5,000.
5,000,
HOA.
1,500. Somebody will.
Give me subtract then.
Yeah, 28,000.
25,500, the first one.
25,
25,500.
25, 500. Do I have a second?
Yes.
Next one. It's a fun. 350 minus 350, 28, 515,
500.
500?
Yeah.
Oh,
I see, it's terrible. A little different.
that's a little.
This one,
A little different.
negative.
Yeah, that's negative.
350 minus 425 minus 28 minus 5 minus 1,500, and it's negative.
109,500.
Short sale.
No, no.
No.
Short sale,
No.
probably not.
They
Has
can
to
be
close.
yeah.
I can make this work,
Mhm.
right? I can make this work. And this one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We should.
Oh, yeah. This is definitely a short sale. Now, I don't know why there's a difference here, but do I have a conversation?
Yes.
Can I find, where would I find this? I can't find the current loan payoff, but can I get close to it? What do I need to figure out a loan payoff?
If they don't pay the
Where would I find,
payments.
okay, when they purchase the house, where do I find all the sales information?
And
I don't care what program, I don't care. Is the sale price there?
Yeah.
Is the recorded note there?
Yes.
So if they bought it in the last 3 or 4 years, kind of figure out the payoff.
Mhm.
Unless they won lottery and paid some ridiculous amount, which is living up, because they wouldn't be living here. I can kind of do a best guess to the payoff. If they bought the house 5 years ago and their note was 340,000, pretty sure we're gonna be short. Pretty sure. And on this one, it would be very close. I could be short on this one, so I gotta be careful with that. And I'm being very basic on this, right? Because the things that would impact it would be HELOCs and PACE loans and other things, right? So there's a whole bunch of other things that could come into it.
Speaking of PACE loans, I know it's a little off topic, but if you were to do a pencil search, does PACE loans come up on pencil searches?
No, but they will show up because if it's a PACE loan and and you get paid through your taxes, it will show up on your tax bill in the non-ad valorem section, and you will see it there.
Okay.
If they recorded it, if it was like a regular loan, you would see it in a pencil search. But when you're talking to the seller's gonna be like, I don't know anyway.
Right, of course not.
So what's that old saying? I think Reagan, trust but verify. Yeah, my payoff's 300,000, trust but with everything. You have to ask them the questions and you can't say, oh, seriously. You have to check on it afterwards.
Can the bank come out somewhere? Have they ever,
What do you mean, come up?
like, if they were to ask the bank for, I don't know, $5,000 or something?
Because
The
they
same
have
way
up
that
for
we-
25,000.
Yeah.
You
Like,
can ask into the bank,
asking the
if they
bank.
don't pay something, but what they coming for that?
Well, you're
loan?
not talking to the bank unless you have a short sale. If I call my bank and say, hey, can you drop 10,000? What's the bank's gonna say? You want to do a loan mod? You can do a loan mod. You can do a loan mod. What do you need to do a loan mod? What do you need to do a loan MOD? MOD, that'll cover it.
Okay, so that would be. So then they sell it, so this one
I
is.
know I can do all you want, but if you're in this mess, you're not gonna get a loan. You're not gonna get a loan mod if you're already in trouble. There's no way.
Wow, you say MOD.
So, agribusiness in here.
So in Florida, the way you are notified that someone wants to collect on it is they need to put a pending lien on your property. And we're a judicial state. Not every state is judicial. Some aren't, some are mixed, but we are definitely a judicial state. So our rules for the foreclosure process are different in other states. But the short sale process is identical across the country. So it's two different things. The foreclosure process is state to state. The short sale is the same across the country.
And, if you could just refresh my memory, if they do have a short sale, it stays 3 years on their credit.
Short sale doesn't stay on your credit.
Oh, okay.
Only the late payments are on your credit. And then every month, the 13th month drops off. So if you were
Okay.
clean, so you have 12 months of, if I didn't make payments for 12 months,
Got it.
then the oldest 12 month will start dropping off. So it will show that you were in default,
Okay,
but there's no term for short sale on your credit. Now, where it affects you is if you try to get another loan, because if you want to go, if
that's
you,
the thing.
if you do a short sale, and you guys know what a 1003 is? What's a 1003? Okay, so this is why I said this is an advanced class. When you apply for a, on your contract, if someone gets financing, they have to apply for something in 5 days.
The loan commitment, the loan.
They have to apply for the loan,
Application.
for the application. A loan application is a 1003. Should know that. A loan application is a 1003. Has nothing to do with us. It's all about the loan officer. On the 1003, it's gonna ask, did you ever have a bankruptcy, foreclosure? Deed in lieu, it's gonna ask you those questions. That's where the short sale shows up. Because you
Okay,
would tell them how you got rid of the other house. So that's where it shows up. So
And
it will
that-
prohibit you from getting a house for a couple of years.
okay, yeah, I think, wasn't it 3 years?
It changes every year. I think we're down to 2 years,
Okay.
3 years typical, but it's when they do the 1003 that it's going to affect them.
Got it.
Yeah.
And that,
And then for foreclosures, it's 7 years.
7 years.
7 years on your credit
Okay,
and in public records forever,
okay,
because it's public records. That doesn't get cleared up. But your first ticket or citation is in public records, so. Unless it was before you were 18. It's public records. You've never had a ticket.
I think I was in Mexico.
Oh, okay. You've never had a ticket.
No, but I never took the.
No, you've never- Oh, that's because you've never been caught.
I know one.
Yeah, but I'm like.
You know it's right.
You know, it's.
First find some more. Hold on. So that was, so when you're talking to a seller, and I don't care, unless they own it outright, you have to figure this out before you go in. Don't go in and not ask the questions, because you know when you'll be surprised? At closing. You don't want to be surprised, and you want to do what's best. Look, you may not get the listing if they find out that they're only gonna make $10,000.
Right.
You probably won't get it if it's $500. But you're gonna stay with them, right? You're gonna stay Velcro to that seller. Because you need to be there when they make that decision, because if anything happens to them, it won't be, do I want to sell? It may be, I have to sell, and you better be stuck on them. I'm right here, hello, look behind you. Ready? Because when the numbers are here, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Because the prices are going down. This is not an if, this is a when. They could be one paycheck away from getting that list pendants. One paycheck. Here's what's happened in the last 3 years. What was the big thing that happened 3 years ago? Pandemic, right? Did things happen to people during the pandemic? Was there loss of life? They lost a life. That's they lost their business. Did wage earners, could the primary wage earner lost their life? Did they lose their jobs? Did businesses close down? A lot of things happen and we haven't even realized a lot of it yet. Yet, because we're holding on by a string. Did people get forbearance loan? Did they even know it was a forbearance loan?
Yep.
No. Here's what happened. Here's what happened. And you can still get notices from your credit card companies. Hey, if you're in trouble, just let me know. If you're in trouble because of hardship, let me know. I can stop the payment for 3 to 6 months. That's what they were saying. Did I mention the word forbearance? It is a forbearance. You're not making those payments for the next 3 to 4 months. That is a forbearance and it goes someplace. It doesn't disappear. It's not a gift. It means you pay it later. Or Whatever later is, it could be this year, or when, if it's a house, it would be when you sell it. It's a forbearance loan. And a lot of them were 2 or 3 years. When is 2 or 3 years up?
This year.
This year.
Yeah.
Let's say your mortgage payment was $2,000 a month and you had a 6-month forbearance. How much money is that? And they want it on June 15th. They don't have. Or they want it on March 15th because it's 6 months from when, 2 years to the day. When you wanted it, actually 3 years. They're mostly 3-year forbearance loans. So now they owe $12,000 plus interest. One lump sum. March 15th.
Oh, wow.
You think everyone has that money? When do you make the decisions to stop making payments? Is your first thought to sell your house? No. No. Do you go into default now because the bank wants $12,000? Could be. And if the bank says, I need 12,000, I need all or nothing, what are they gonna get from you? Nothing. Stop making your payment. Stop making your payments. In subdivisions, you've seen some of these HOA prices.
It's crazy. Crazy.
$3, $4, $500 a month.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Even like the $300,000 properties, it's going for like 5 years. Crazy.
When someone has a financial hardship and they live in a subdivision, what's the first thing they say? Right? They'll stop the HOA payment. They'll pay their house and they'll pay their car. But now they have to pay that house, that mortgage, $12,000. What's the next thing to stop payments? It's the house. Will they keep making that car payments? Yes. They gotta get to work. They'll pay everything except HOA first, taxes, insurance, and mortgage. They'll stop paying. Are you ready to interview those people? Yeah. If not, refer it to somebody who is. Because if you mess up one date, or you're missing one form, or you get the wrong buyer, that person's in foreclosure and they lost their house, their home, because of you. I'm not saying you, I'm saying because of agents. And there's many agents who won't ask the questions, won't figure out the math. They are so happy they got a listing. They have no clue what's going on with that homeowner. No clue. Who are they helping? They're not helping themselves because getting a listing does not get you a check. Getting a listing does not get you a check. You're not helping yourself unless you get awards for top listing agent. Zero closes. You can be top listing agent and 0 closes. I'm not joking. It sounds like I'm joking, but I'm not. Because there's too many agents out there like that. And that's what I'm worried about. Here's what happened. Home prices increased 48%, wages increased by 14%. Right there, there's a gap. Right there. So their HOA, my HOA went up $200 a month. I don't know for what. I don't have a guard. If I did, a guard at the guard gate, I'll be parked there. I'm like, you owe me money. Insurance.
Because we were paying insurance.
Oh, that's what, it's not just
So I think that's why they've been going up. For the insurance.
insurance.
A
common area.
And some of them, they're taking out some things, they keep it to the tenant. Again, the person living like cable, stuff they want to remove.
Get
some of-
a cable.
No, but they say, you paid for that, but they say they want to remove some of them. They're working on that because it's not working for them. It's crazy.
Yeah, but it's insurance. I think insurance is.
But these little things, right? Like, yeah, my house is increasing in equity, but I can't afford the payments because all those like FPNL went up like 30%. It did. It's not my Christmas light, it's at the.
That's what they were saying. They were saying that that's what's making it hard to own a home now is also because of your taxes, your HOA insurance, doing all the things to maintain your house.
Yeah, so even though the equity went up, it's not in my pocket, right?
No.
Here's my problem. I can't afford all these increases and everything. Now. If you're a dual wage earner, it's even harder because any one person that loses their job or one leave, I mean, it's hard, it's hard. People used to stay in their home 5 years, now people are staying in there 10 years. Now, this is a national average. But people are staying in there longer, they're not jumping like they used to, because if I get my equity from this house, where am I going? And you're not gonna go anywhere, people are staying in their houses, they're making difficult decisions. Seniors are holding on to their homes longer because they're working longer and because they have very low interest rates, like, I'm gonna die in my house. Remember that 25-year thing? I can't quit in 3 years. I'll be working forever. I'm not leaving this job. I'm just joking. But you can see, people have to work longer, they're living longer, they're not leaving their houses because the interest rate on that, it's either paid for or they're paying 2 and 3% interest rate from 10 years ago. Right, so it's different. New construction lags, it has always lagged. Now, we have a problem with new construction now because they're not building as fast as we need them. Right, so you have lotteries going on. Remember the lotteries we had going on?
Yeah, well,
Not sure for the things they build to the wood and all of this.
Yeah.
I think they were saying too that we had construction lags from before.
Always, we haven't caught.
So I mean, now it just haven't caught up. So
Yeah.
and now we have exactly what your slide said.
Yeah.
Now we have construction, labor problems, supply issues, so it's-
Supply is an issue,
Oh,
and you
yeah.
can't get anyone's work, so talk about labor problems, you can't get anyone to work. So we have a very strange thing going on where we have inflation, we can't afford anything, and yet. Like, we have like 2% unemployment, everybody's working, but nobody can afford anything.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's crazy. We have a very unique situation going on now. Back to the future, do we have subprime lending back? Yes. So exciting. I can put more people, bless you, into houses they can't afford. This is so cool. Wow. Seriously, I'm putting more people into houses that they either can't afford now or will not be able to afford in 6 months to a year. We have to pay attention to this. In some areas, so increase of availability of down payment loans, debt to income ratios, arms are returning, and what about rent?
Oh my God.
Oh, tell me about it.
It's so doom and gloom, it's like, you just can't win. It is safer to put someone into a house than into a rental. I will say that, if they can afford 3 times their income, what is it, the rent? Their income must be 3 times their rent, and they can afford less than security. Try to get them into a house.
Yeah.
Do it now, while the houses are still stable, but it is better to get them into a house. Unless they have a problem with their payments. So here's the facts. This might be a little hard to read, but it starts at 2020, the beginning of the pandemic, and goes to 2 years later. So this is about the mortgages that are out there now. So the blue are the performing loans. These are the performing loans. The gray are the ones that are paid off in that 2 year period. The yellow is active loss mitigation. They're in default. Look at the yellow between 2 years ago and this time last year. Look at the defaults, active mitigation. The light blue is active foreclosure. And we don't have any green. It's across the top, you can bet, distress liquidation. So and the delinquents are red. So that's a year ago. Now, all of this has pushed down. The red's in the yellow's in the blue. And it's a trend. It's a trend. So our payoffs are less. And the big thing is the active loss mitigation. These are short sales. Are they out there? So they're not foreclosed on yet. But we know that they are underwater and in trouble. Those, that's the yellow, and that's over a 2-year period. So they haven't done anything yet. They haven't done anything. Active loss mitigation. They're losing the money, but nothing's been done. The banks have not taken action. We don't want them to go into foreclosure. The last thing you want is for a family to lose their home. Right? They didn't buy their house. So like people were saying, oh, people shouldn't have bought houses during the last recession because it was fraud, they were lying. No, I mean, there's always going to be fraud, but it's not. People don't go to a closing and buy a house for their family and then say, oh, I just won't make the payments. It doesn't work that way. People don't go into it planning to default. So we want to save these, as many of these active losses as we can. We don't want them, so active losses, delinquent, they go from pay off, performing, paid off. So these are delinquent, these are already loss mitigation. We're already working on those. We want to save as many of those homeowners as we can. Filings in the first 6 months of last year were up 219% over the year before. And the numbers are coming out in January this month. About what it was for the last 6 months, they haven't been filed yet. We get our numbers from the Mortgage Banking Association and from Adam. So we already know that there's a loss and there's opportunity. We already know. Filings were up 132% year over year and 40% quarter over quarter. We expect that to keep going. It's not going to get better, it's going to get worse, but it's not a crash. It's just that people can't meet their payments. Oh, we're number 2 already, so
It's coming.
we like being up there. A little different than it was last time, so this was the first half of 2022. California was number 1. So these are foreclosure starts. These are not foreclosures. This means that California doesn't have list pendants. They have notice of default. It's a little different. We have list pendants because we have a much longer judicial foreclosure period. And we'll learn more about that as we start specializing in the course. So if they have a problem, they can extend their forbearance if they went into forbearance or they're behind. They can repay their missed payments. They can spread it. They can extend the loan by a number of missed loans, or they can do an MOD on their loan. Are these options for people that just don't have the money?
Yeah.
Right, so we have to be careful, but we have to understand that they do have options. It just may not work for them. I literally have a note in order to do a MOD. I literally have a note up there for me. Yeah, you guys can't see it, but if you turn around, you can see it. I literally have it, and I'm like, wow, that was brilliant. All right, so the market shifts and you pivot. Here's the market shifting. Less buyers, more sellers. You're gonna start seeing that now. I looked at the numbers this morning and it was depressing. I look at the hot sheet every morning on my phone. Average home prices are starting to fall.
Yes.
Check.
Yeah.
Check. Sellers get upside down.
Yeah.
We're gonna start seeing it. Foreclosure increases into double digits. We're just around 5-6% and it's rising. When we get to double digits, we're in trouble. It's too late then. So we gotta start attack that before it happens. REOs start hitting the market. We haven't seen it yet. The banks are very wise with REOs. I don't want to see them, but they will start hitting the market because they've already started the process. We saw the chart where it says active loss mitigation. We're going to start seeing those things come across. When REOs hit the market, it drops the price of the property in that neighborhood. Because the bank will compete. So it's going to drop the neighborhood. Then we have more defaults because more people are upside down. If the REO hits the market, he drops the price by, let's say, 25 or 50,000. That put this one in default, made that one upside down. So when an REO starts hitting the market, every neighborhood comes down a fraction. So we don't want them there because the bank doesn't want to lose their money either. But they can't hold on to a non-performing asset. And by the time it becomes an REO, it hasn't performed, they haven't gotten paid in over a year. They need to get rid of it, because when the bank owns the property, what else do they own? What else do they have to pay besides?
They have every.
Force in place insurance, everything has to go on there. The bank's like, I do this. And the investor's like, I don't want to throw good money after that. Get rid of it. Now they won't pay taxes until they're exactly like 1 year and 11 months. That's when they pay the taxes, because they don't want anyone else to swoop in and pay the taxes either, because now I have another lien holder. Right? So they're careful. So average home prices fall, the more defaults, foreclosures increase, REOs increase, and then we go back, less buyers and more sellers. Yeah. So at that point, it's a vicious cycle and we have to get out. So here's what you have to do. You have to be able to recognize that it's a short sale. You need to be able to look at some extra numbers. Where do you find these sellers? Where do you find these people? There is a place that you can go to where you can find everyone that has a list pendants. What's a list pendants? Notice it's pending lien. List pendants is a pending lien. Someone has a lien on that house and they can collect. Who can file a list pendants? Who can put a lien on the property? The bank. The government. Contractors. HOAs. Anybody. Second lien holders, everybody can put a lien on IRS. Is interesting. Because the house doesn't owe IRS money. Who owes IRS? The person. And the person has assets, and what's that person's biggest asset? The house. So they put a lien on the house because they know when that house sells. IRS is standing right next to you with their hands up. You're selling, you're paying.
They can do that on a homestead property?
Absolutely, yeah. They can't sell it and they can't foreclose on it, but they'll be standing next to you when you close.
And in what order do they get paid back? That's always real estate taxes first.
They're gonna leave that lien on there. So it doesn't matter.
Oh, so even if it sells, the new owner inherits that lien?
No, it's gonna sell, it's gonna close with them, but it doesn't matter if they're in second or third place, they're just not gonna let go. So the first lien holder will be, of course, the bank, and then everyone else is just standing there with HOA.
I always thought at first, like, well, it's always the government, so like, if you owe money in your taxes, or real estate
No.
taxes.
Real estate taxes are different than IRS though, right?
Yes.
Real estate taxes get paid right away.
Yeah. From the
First
state.
lien holder, real estate taxes, so, because the first lien holder still owes the house, right? Yeah. Here's my favorite part about, I have a love-hate with IRS. If you heard my story, I hate IRS, but if I'm as a listing agent, I love IRS.
Why?
Because I can do a short sale. Let's say they owe IRS, I don't know, $20,000. Right? And that lien is right there. The bank's like, I got a first lien holder, I've got an HOA, and I've got IRS. If I can sell that house and I can get rid of IRS, would I not like walk on water? Because I can get IRS to take pennies on the dollar. They just want something. They're like everybody else. Just give me something to go away. I can give them $5,000. Close on the house. And the homeowner not only avoided foreclosure, but I paid off IRS for them. Me. I did really the bank did. But as far as that homeowner is concerned, My agent's the best. They sold the house. My credit's okay. They got rid of IRS. They paid my taxes. My agent did everything. And I'm like, Did I? I didn't do anything. I only negotiated it for them. And I don't even do the negotiating. I have to hire somebody to. You do not do your own processing in a short sale. And it doesn't take 8 months anymore because there's professionals that do it. But we just need to get the listing first, but I could, once I find out everything that's involved. I can negotiate out anything, though the biggest problem in a short sale is the HOA. They're the biggest problem, because they put the most fake fees on than anybody. They do. It could be that they owed $1,000, and by the time the negotiator contacts them, it's 12,000. Now, there are laws in the state, they're only allowed to get a certain amount. There's laws. I think it's 3 months of something, or there's laws, so there's only so much, but they can hold up your sale. So they're the biggest challenge.
So who negotiates that?
Negotiator does everything.
Oh, the person that you
The
hire.
person that I hire
Got it.
that works on all the paperwork and the negotiating. Yeah, they do everything.
Got it.
We'll talk about negotiators a little bit, not much.
This
Okay.
negotiators is just for these types of transactions.
It's a closing coordinator that only does short sale.
Okay.
Okay, where do I find my sellers?
That was the question.
In the tax roll.
Like the way he explained to us.
If you an IMAP, and it only works in IMAP. It only works in IMAP. If I knew how to use this machine, I would show you. So everyone knows, I do not like Windows, I don't know how to use it. So we did get a new mouse and keyboard, so let's see if I can blame it on the mouse and keyboard. So if I go to IMAP. And I'll show you in a second. What's wrong with this? Oh, I know. There it is, search, okay. Now you can't see this, but I'll switch it around. Oh, look at that. I can do it right there. It's very different on my screen. Okay, oh, maybe I can do it here. Stop it. I don't know who's logged in, but doesn't matter. Okay, so this is bothering me. How do I move this thing? Oh. Okay, beaches, access. Oh, I can't believe I can do this. 206, right? No. Does anyone know their number off by heart?
276.
I know it. I do know it, it's just odd doing it this way. Okay, so I go to IMAP. So I go to IMAP. IMAP, okay. Now I have it set as a default for me, but when you go into IMAP, this is what you see, right? And you know, you can go to all 64, 63 counties, 67 counties, whatever it is. You know, you can look up any county in IMAP. You just click here and you can look up the county. But you probably have it set. So you can look up anything.
How did you get to that? Where are you? Like, when
I'm
you
in
say
IMAP.
that- Yeah, but just.
When you're getting it down.
Flex,
Right?
IMAP,
Oh, okay.
right there. It's right there.
Let's,
Okay, so it says tax search and MLS search. Look at that. What does that say?
Foreclosure.
What? It's right there. So I wanna look up a subdivision. I'm gonna look up Olympia. It's not gonna give me what I want, but I can't. Is there a caps? What's? Okay, so, oh, look at that. Let's just look at one. I like this one. For no reason. So it's telling me we already have a list pendants.
I don't see.
Foreclosure, look,
Okay,
foreclosure,
foreclosures.
file date, everything's on here. There's even a phone number. Oh, that's for the attorney. I don't know why they did that. So. So let's see, sales information. This is a notice of rescission. I'll explain that later. So let's see, they have a mortgage amount of 100, they've had this house since 2003. That's really interesting. Something's going on here.
23.
They bought this brand new. Yeah, this is a very different, well, all I'm showing you is foreclosures. These are all in the foreclosure process. And it's, doesn't tell me, shows 25, I can't see how many there are. No, it's
There's 6 of, it's right there. whatever.
6 in whatever subdivision I pick.
Yeah.
So there's 6 in one small area. Let me go back and let's see if let's do a new search. New search. Let's say I just picked the zip code. 33411. Because I know where that is. Here. 33 results
Wow.
in the zip code.
Yeah.
So. And this one doesn't even say this or there's nothing. I don't know what's going on here. These other ones all have case numbers. Fifth Third Bank. I wonder what that's about. Golden Lakes. I'll bet you that's a reverse mortgage. So. What's really cool is I can download it, which is fine, but I can create mailing labels. Right? Or just print the page, but every one of these is an opportunity. Let's do a new search. Now these are foreclosures, so there's no. Can't do a whole county. Can't do a whole county. Let's look at Wellington. 31 results. So it looks like there's about 30 in each zip code, maybe. So are there opportunities out there?
Yes.
Yeah. There's opportunities out there. It's pretty cool. So you can get that right out of IMAP. But these people already have a lien filed and they're already in the foreclosure process. So could you approach them? Of course you can. Are you prepared to do a presentation with them? Well, that would be completely different.
Now I can't get back to where I was.
That is so interesting. Oh, yeah, here I go.
So they said they on the do not call list. Don't call them. So
So
now
don't call them.
So now you just wanna mail them.
Wait. So don't call them.
What I'm saying.
Go there.
You didn't get in trouble.
They're like landlords. No, they're just.
Let me ask you something. How far is 33411?
It's gonna get in trouble.
Well,
So you can't drive there?
no, but I was just saying. I mean,
Yeah. This passive marketing of mailing and not doing anything, it's just not gonna work. It's not working anyway. So it's just not gonna work. You literally have to go belly to belly. You literally have to go knock on the door. And if you go, you better be prepared. Now, would I go knock on a door of a house that's on foreclosure? Who said that? Yes, for real. Because they think you represent them. And you're coming to take their house. So you have to be careful. Now, I'm not saying don't go there, don't, what I'm saying is, you need to know what you're up against. So let's get into that a little bit more. So where are these sellers? They're in IMAP, but that's after they've been served. We want to find them before. So you can go into regular IMAP and see who bought a house and look at it in the last 3 or 4 years. I mean, you can find it. You can find them. How do you service these sellers? Bless you. How do you service them?
Find a buyer.
It's education. It's education, right? Understanding, finding the buyer, doing what you've got to do. Credibility. Once you start working with short sales, other agents will pass them on to you. And I like to use the word, bless you, they'll dump them on you. Because there's so many people that don't want to do this. So once you become like, you put yourself out there and say, hey, if you have short sales, I'll handle it for you. And I promise to make you look good. Do you think you'll get listings?
Yeah.
Because probably 20–30% of my business was other agents that are like, look, I don't do these things. Oh, that's okay. All right, I'll do. Okay, I don't mind. I have someone sitting back here that's processing. I'm okay. We started talking about pencil searches in the last 4 or 5 or 6 months. It came because of this. It came because of this course, because that's the first thing I said is, can we start doing pencil searches? Because we're going out there blind. We just don't know. It's more important now, more than ever. And it's a good question. I want to ask him if he can look up the PACE loans, because he can look at the tax roll faster than they can.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and I need him to start looking at that, because so many people got their windows and roofs done in the last 3 or 4 years. It's a $30,000 difference in what they're walking away with for any listing.
I think the government is still really pushing it
They are.
right now, so.
They love those things because they make, 3–4% interest on them, and it's a government thing, so they make money. So you guys know what a PACE loan is? So it's a energy efficient improvement to major improvement to the house. So solar panels, roof, windows, storm windows, whatever they're called, I don't know what they're called. Storm windows? Impact windows and doors. So that's typically a $30,000 to $50,000 note loan on the house, but it doesn't show as a loan, and it gets paid through their taxes. But when they sell, they have to pay off that loan. Well, when they're listing, they forgot. Or they think they're gonna pass it on to the buyer, but they're not. So you have to know if that loan's
And we
there, so you
remember
can
them.
tell them, because they forget. And what did I tell you? Trust but
Verify.
because they might come to closing and say, oh, this is your net. And then they start writing the numbers and I'm like, oh, there's a PACE loan of $35,000 for those gorgeous windows that your buyer wants. And this needs to be closed before they can close.
So it's not transferable?
No,
Okay.
not your loan, it's my loan that I'm paying back through taxes. But I signed the note, I gotta pay it off. Now, if your buyer wants to pick it up, you can probably leave it there, but what buyer would do that? You told me it's 350,000, now you're telling me it's another 35,000?
Question on the PACE loans, isn't that tacked onto the property taxes as well?
It is, it's in the, what did I say, non-ad valorem,
Right, it
Yes.
changes the entire property tax valuation for the property.
changes everything. So that's why this, can you find out from Jacob if he can include that in the search?
It's not there.
Oh, right,
That's
somebody remind
But
me.
if you look at the property taxes for homes in a certain area, and you see
You'll
one that's
notice.
really high, but the valorem section is, that would be the PACE loan tagged on. to the
You've got to
taxes.
investigate, you guys have.
Sorry.
When you go out on a listing appointment, do you take the tax roll with you? Yes. Okay, let's change the answer. When you go out on a listing appointment, do you take the tax info with you?
Yes.
Just- No. Everyone, the answer is. Yes, from this moment on, when we
They forgot stuff.
incorporating that, when would now be a good time to incorporate that into your listing?
When
Now. That's tax.
Got a property search and stuff from Jacob.
But
Take the tax roll with you.
They give you everything.
Cause it tells you who's supposed to be there. Take it with you. If I sit in front of my seller with the one line CMA and the tax roll and and my pencil search, does that seller know I did my homework?
Oh, yes.
Games with me. I catch everything I say. Right? You need to go prepared. You, it's show. Anybody's tax return in front of me, they don't know. But go prepared. Takes you right to the pre-listing packet. There it is. Oop, there it is. And your listing paperwork, have forms with you and be prepared. Have forms with you and be prepared.
Dolores, regarding the IMAPs and like the tax records, how quick does it update? So like, let's say for some reason they were able to pay off, they were behind 3 months and they got a new job, a signing bonus, and use that to pay off their, you know, their debt, and now they're current. So
Yeah.
how long?
So
does it-
on a note, right? The
Yeah.
note is recorded when they took it out. It does not show what's happened since then.
No, but on the foreclosures, like you just did that whole search on through IMAP.
To get rid of that,
Yes.
oh, it depends on the filings in the court, so I have no control. It has nothing to do with IMAP, but some judge has to release it.
So
We're at the mercy of
Just don't
the
know.
servicer, the banks, the foreclosure attorney, and whoever filed it. It could be done in 2 or 3 weeks, it could take months, because they may not let it go.
Okay.
They could freeze it, there's a term for it, you see, they could, not called freeze, but they could put it on hold, but not release it. So it could be on hold indefinitely to stop the proceeding, but not release it.
got it.
And there's a name for it, and I don't know what it's called.
Okay.
Like a stay of execution. Yeah, so they could do that. These are just more numbers on loans, so we're looking at the loans, so I'm not gonna, I have to get this one updated, so I'm gonna freeze that one. Okay, who are the parties to a short sale? I know it's up there. But. So you have the originator, who's an originator? You have an originator in this office, who's your loan originator? Maria's a loan originator, get you the loan, right? That's it, and she steps away. The lender. Right, could be a bank. The investor. Who buys the portfolio from the bank so that the bank has more money to lend back out. So the bank lends out the money, 500,000. They get a whole bunch of them. They bundle it up until it's millions. They sell it to an investor, so it's a mortgage-backed security. So now the investor gave them the money so that they can go out and get more loans. So it's just a cycle. So it's pretty cool when you think of it the way it works. But they have to get rid of that mortgage-backed security so that they have more money to lend out. So now I have an investor involved, and the investor hires a servicer to nag you to make the payments. Right? So the servicer is the one that keeps track of everything. They're just an administrator, like an administrative staff, but it typically is a bank that already has a whole team of servicers, and so they just charge the investor a monthly fee, administrative fee, for servicing the loan, making sure it gets paid, making sure we collect escrow, make sure they pay off the taxes, the insurance with the escrow, then sending you an update saying we're starting all over again. Then there's the complainants attorneys. Now, those are foreclosure attorneys. Again, they're not there to help you. They work for the bank. They're not. I'm not gonna say they're not nice people, but their mission is different than our goal. Right? I remember that. And then the rest of the short sale is you and your team and the co-op agent. So in a short sale, to be successful, you have to have a team, not a team of agents, but a team of professionals. So who would be on your team? A negotiator. Negotiator, that's my number one person. My negotiator is my most favorite person. If they pay me.
Definitely want a title company.
A title company, you need a good title company that will work with my negotiator. Right, because those two are together, the negotiator's in charge, trust me. Who else will be on my team? Who else will be on my team? I want to be a really good short sale agent, who else is gonna be on my team?
Well, maybe a transaction coordinator, because you need to keep those dates, not maybe, but transaction, to keep you with the dates.
The negotiator actually has to do that.
Oh,
Yeah, I can't have another person interfering.
Okay.
Because only one person's allowed to talk to the bank. And so they would never be able to do anything about the dates, so I don't need, so that is a closing coordinator, it's just a very advanced closing coordinator. They are a closing coordinator. Do you think it would be helpful to have a repair person? Right? I need a good person that I can trust. Because my seller can't do repairs and stuff, so I'll need that person that's quick. That's quick. How about an appraiser?
Yes.
I need an appraiser that works for me. Not the bank. Right, because I gotta know what's going on. Now, I can do my own BPOs, so if it's in a regular, cookie cutter neighborhood where all, there's 5 models and 500 homes, I can do those, because they're all the same price. But if they're a standalone, like Acreage, I might have a problem. Anything along the ocean, I might have a problem if it's a standalone unit. So I still need an appraiser that I can count on.
And
Who
then
else?
did you use that appraiser, and use that appraisal, like in case like the BPO comes in much differently?
Yeah, so.
What is the best way to use that?
So the appraiser is more, of course, it's for the seller, right?
Right,
Because I need to price this house extremely competitively. I don't have time,
okay,
right? I gotta be the first one sold. And yeah,
right,
I can't, if the house is gonna go for $1 million, I can't sell it for $750. Because the bank's like, really?
yes, yeah.
Seriously? And I'm like, I have an appraisal.
Yeah.
It's worth the $500. It's worth it. Now, do I pay it? No.
Yeah.
So, I'm getting you out of a $700,000 loan. You're paying $500, right? So I gotta make it work. So my team is so important. Because I'm a salesperson. I'll bring it in, I'll make it rain, but I need everybody to do their part. Now, a negotiator is a very unique person. So when I said that the state has foreclosure laws and rules on how we do things, short sales are a national thing, so negotiators can come from anywhere in the country. They do not have to be state specific, because they don't have to know, we're not in foreclosure. We just need to negotiate a short sale. So I need a good negotiator that has relationships in the major banks. I need someone who does this on a full-time basis and already has a number to call in the top 10 banks. They've already been working on it. Now, we're fortunate. We do have someone who does short sales that I can call at a moment's notice, but I'm not gonna give her name in here, so I'm not trying to give her business right now. But when we get to that part, I'll have 2 or 3 negotiators for you. Who else do I need on my team? A good bankruptcy attorney. I was thinking about that. Because there are times it won't make sense for me to do a short sale, and it's not about me. There are times I do need a bankruptcy attorney. And it might not be, I might still have to do the short sale. But if the bank doesn't forgive the debt, remember I was telling you I have to pay IRS? I will help my bankruptcy attorney by giving them the name, because they can file bankruptcy for that leftover debt that IRS wants. So how about we bankrupt that debt? So I need a good bankruptcy attorney.
So you'd use him even if it was just a short sale?
So what happens after the short sale, right? So there might be some assets or some extra debt or something where we're not completely clear. because IRS might still come after the forgive and get, whatever, I need a good bankruptcy attorney.
Okay.
And I may not be able to do a short sale because of all, now, there's a couple of elements of the short sale, and if that seller doesn't meet them. So this is about the house and the value of the house, but then the other element of the short sale is the actual, I only got 20 minutes. Is the actual seller, he's gotta qualify also, I'm gonna try and move that along. So there's two elements, is the house and what we need to pay off to get rid of the house, and then there's the seller has to qualify for that short sale as well. It's not just the house. It's the whole. The seller has to be, what did we say the seller had to be, that fancy word? Insolvent, no. Yes, but the family word was insolvent. I need a good bankruptcy attorney and I need a good foreclosure defense attorney. And I need 2 or 3 of those. Because if we have to rush the court because of the sale date, I need that attorney ready. And if he's not ready, I need my backup attorney. So I need 2 or 3 foreclosure defense attorneys, because I cannot go in front of a judge. I am not an attorney, but if I need, and I'll call it a stay of execution, I need the sale date just either dropped or moved. I need that foreclosure defense attorney. So that's my team. That's my team. That's a nice team. And anyone who works with me that I give business to, what do I expect back? I want referrals back, right? Absolutely. I'm not, this is not a one-sided deal where I'm just giving you everything. You need to send something back this way. Right? Listing agent. Prepare for the listing, the offer, and the acceptance at the beginning. Now you just go in and you want to get the listing. Now that's what you do now. But in these scenarios, you have to have everything ready at the beginning. We don't have time to start the short sale packet after we get the offer. We start it the day we take the listing. Now, I'm not doing it, but I have all the forms with me from my negotiator, and I send it in advance to my seller so that he has everything signed, so my negotiator can hit the ground running. I can't wait until the negotiator starts processing it. I have to give them as much as I possibly can. So not only am I putting it in the MLS, I'm handing it off to my negotiator. Everything is done at the beginning. Now, if it's a regular listing, you still do everything at the beginning. You should still have everything ready for closing. You don't wait. You should have as much information as possible to hand off to the buying agent. Your HOA or condo doc should be done at the listing. Your seller's disclosure should be added to the list to your MLS as a handout. Everything should be there. Everything should be in the MLS. And then walk away from it and go on to the next one. Preparation, do the math before you get there. Make sure you have the right team members. Not every listing needs the same team members. Regular listings, you need your transaction or closing coordinator. You need your photographer. So you want to have everything ready. Your team has a lot of professionals on it. And then move on. And how do you fit in as a listing agent? Be inquisitive, not accusatory. I don't care how you got this loan, you got it. I don't know how you got it, different tone, but you got it. Have everything in place and be patient. This is not about you. They may not list right now. They'll probably call you the day before the sale date. So not only, what's your first 3 questions when you talk to any potential client? What are your first 3 questions? When you're talking to a client, what are your first couple of questions?
Besides your contact information. What they owe, their.
Yeah, but in which scenario,
Your
so
first 3 questions.
are you working with it?
Are you working with another agent?
I was scared to say that. It's like that.
I know. It's so simple. What else? Are you working with another agent?
Are you sign a paper?
If you sign anything, right?
Yeah.
Right? And then you can go on to the questions of How did you find out about me? Right, you need, it's not any different.
Oh, okay.
It's not a secret, it's not any different, you need to ask those questions. And remember I said trust, but. So I'm talking to them on the phone, I'm asking them the questions, are you working with another agent? What do you think I'm doing in the MLS? Looking up the address? 'Cause I don't believe why you. But.
Trust, but verify.
Trust, but yeah. Are you working with another agent? You know, if I heard that. Did you sign anything?
Still honest.
Cool. What time do you want me over there? If you know it's listed with another agent, can you meet with them? Oh. You already know I'm gonna ask you again, so you only have another answer to give me. If they called you, and you already know it's listed with another
Well,
agent,
then
can you
you
meet with them?
see them, but you cannot do nothing if you say, I need to do another day.
You absolutely can meet with them. Absolutely, you can go.
Well, they can cancel with the other agents.
You're not gonna mention it. Because you're not gonna talk about another age. You know it's listed with someone else. You can meet with them. You can talk to them and tell them how wonderful you are. If you think it's a short set, because you check the numbers, you can talk about the short set. Who can't you talk about? The other agent. And what about the other agent can't you talk about? Their listing agreement. You can't tell them how to get out of it. You can't even ask them when it expires. You cannot mention anything about the agreement with them and another agent, but you can brag on you and you can go through these numbers. Because they'll know when you start asking these questions. You're already different. You don't have to tell. What you can ask, when would you be ready to hire me? You can ask, when would you be ready to hire me? Because I'll be here waiting. You can't do that, but you cannot mention the other agent. I don't care who they are, how bad they are. I don't care. You cannot interfere with somebody else's contract. So don't tell them to cancel, don't tell them how to cancel, don't even ask to see it. None of your business. None of your business, and it's a huge ethical violation to interfere. And it's a legal violation called interference. Trust and verify, talk about your team, work on referrals. And exit with gratitude. They will come back if you don't get it right away. Now, know if someone is going through this, like death and divorce, they're gonna go through the 5 stages of grief. So if you approach someone like those people that we saw that already are in the foreclosure process, if you were to go knock on their door, understand what they're going through. They've already been served. Know that the first stage is denial. Nope, the bank made a mistake. I am not behind. My payments are all caught up. I don't know what the bank is doing. I hired an attorney. Okay, I just know that there's a little penance. I just want you to know that my services are here. If you ever need me, or you just have any questions, or there's anything I can do to help, just call me. This is what I do. I save neighborhoods, one house at a time. That's what I do. You might need them when they've already in the anger stage. This is where I look for rifles. They're ready. They're angry. This is why I find out they're carrying. And when I knock on my door and I hear. I'm gone. They're angry. Just recognize it. Don't argue. You cannot win that argument. When someone has that wall of anger in front of them, no worries. I'm always here for you. Just call me. Or come to my office. But warn me. Call me. They're bargaining. They're not bargaining with you. They're bargaining with the bank.
Yeah.
They hate that bank.
And plus the
It's-
transition there.
It's the bank's fault. Everything is the bank's fault. So they want to bargain with the bank. I want to do a loan mod. Dolores, don't worry about it. I'm doing a loan mod. You have made a payment in 9 months.
You wanna get
And they're asking the bank to modify a loan that you're not. That's okay. I get it.
That's a silly.
Mod.
I'm trying to understand.
Oh my. Know that they're upset and they're gonna try to bargain. That's a matter of time. This is actually, when they get into that phase, That's a matter of days, not weeks. That's days. Then depression. This is the one I don't like. This is when they get quiet and they start ghosting you. I know what's going on. Because now they're seriously depressed. And this is a stage that's the hardest for me. I don't feel well with that. It's just my personality. Because I want to get angry and take action, and this person wants to fall into a corner and cry, and I don't do well with that. But I'm patient because I can recognize it, I know it. But depression is the hardest for me. Especially if I already have the listing and I know this is coming, I know it's coming. Let's say I took the listing when they were in denial. I know depression is coming and I have to be careful with that. Do we have horrible stories about that? I got horrified. So I'm just like, I think the worst one was I was teaching in Vegas and an agent was there, and when we went through this, she goes, "Oh, I have a story." And I'm like, great, not what I wanted. She's there and she got the short sale. She lives in Atlanta. She got the short sale. It's in Atlanta. And the mother, she had to get a power of attorney because the ex, I don't know if they're exes, but the husband's in jail. So she had to get so the mother had to get a power of attorney. The wife had to get a power of attorney. And he's in jail because he lost his job, he got in foreclosure. She came home 3 months ago and her 3 teenage boys were dead.
Oh, seriously?
So the husband killed the kids.
Oh,
And I'm like, how do you deal with that? She goes, I just don't think about it. The wife is there, she needs help, I gotta get her out of this house. And I'm like, well, why didn't you just go into foreclosure? And she's like, she just couldn't, you know, and I'm like, how do you deal with that? Like, I can't, so I'm like, but she's like, that's why I'm taking this course, I gotta help her. A little better than me, but, depression is, you don't know, depression is the hardest one for me, I have a hard time. Acceptance, oh my God, those are my favorite. If I could just always swoop in when they get to that final stage of acceptance, because it's like, take this house and let me tell you what to do with it. Right. But they tell you how to do it too. But at this point, they're like, tell me what to sign, I don't care. I just want out. I hate the bank. I'm never gonna buy a house again. I don't care. I'm good. Like, just sign here. I'm gonna take care of you. Because then I can become their hero. So if I can get them out after depression and out acceptance or anytime before, I'm good. But you have to know where they are. Now, is there a sign that says where they are? No, you have to listen to their tone. Right? If they're angry, we know they're at the beginning. If they're depressed, we'll know.
Have a few people that just abandon the house. What do we do?
That's acceptance. That's it, they're done. So it's like, you know what, just take this house and put it someplace. Those are the ones you want. If they abandon the house, then the only problem with this is they don't care, right?
Yeah,
So you gotta get them to sign something, but they're already gone. That's the only problem with that one.
yeah, they don't want to sign also. They
Yeah.
Just,
You can, if you approach them and tell them the consequences, they will. They will. They will. So you just have to know where they are. You have to know where they are and how you fit in. Impact of credit, we talked about it. Charge off, settlement, deed in lieu, loan settled for less than amount due, but there won't say something that says short sale. So it'll say one of these things. It could drop your credit score, the short sale, because of all the late payments, could drop your credit score up to 150 points. Now, it's really strange. The higher your credit score, the bigger the drop. So if you're at 800, it'll drop it 150. If you're at 500, they drop it 50. Because it doesn't matter. Person, it's to hurt the 500 person. What's the odds thing? That's one, right? Make 150 for 500, so. But the higher the credit score, the bigger the drop, up to almost as much as 150 points. So you kind of have, you have all these things with you, so you can just point to them. So it's not just you babbling, it's you having a presentation that is geared towards short sales. See, it's a different. Short sale tax implications, we talked about the Mortgage Forgiveness Debt Relief Act that went for about 10, 12 years. And the lender will forgive all or part of the borrower's debt as part of a loan mod after foreclosure. So it's income. It's added to the borrower's gross income. As far as IRS is concerned, you just got to get to $200,000. Really? Because it wasn't, but IRS is like, that's what happens. So the Miftra Health, they changed it. It is now called QPRI. Now, tell you if there's 25,000 agents in Palm Beach County, can know what QPRI is. They don't. Nobody knows any of these things. It's brand new. It just started. Qualified principal residence indebtedness exclusion. This is so important. Mom, buzzwords, there's a buzzword. If you're working with a negotiator and they don't know what QPRI is, they're not a negotiator.
Principal.
Qualified principal, QPRI,
Residence and.
indebtedness. It expires. The last day for the sale has to be December 31st, 2025. It's no longer valid on January 1st. Primary principal residence is only in the money. If it was a refi or something, the money had to have been used to build, purchase, or significant renovations or improvement, but it has to be a primary residence, no investment properties. And the exclusion allows a taxpayer to exclude up to $2 million. So if I had a $4 million house, and the bank would accept the $2 million payoff, I can use the other $2 million as my QPRI. And the form that IRS uses is called a 982. Oh, another person on your team. This made me think of it. Besides your attorneys, the other person you need on your team is an accountant. Because we can't talk to our taxpayers about these things. We can't talk to our sellers about how it impacts them, how it impacts their tax returns. We can only have the accountant do it. So you need an accountant that understands short sales. Now the form, I'm giving you a number, form 982, that's the QPRI tax write-off. So when you talk to an accountant, if he says 980 who, he's not the accountant. If I ask my accountant, when he's familiar with QPRI and they're not form 982, and he goes on 980 who? That's not my accountant.
Never mind.
We're good. I'll be back.
I'll call you.
Understand.
One day there's gonna be an accountant in here and I'm gonna have trouble. But seriously, right?
Oh, that's tough.
Seriously, buyer's agents, buyer agent, do the math. You're getting ready to write an offer. Look at the tax roll. See what the full loan is and kind of figure out the rest. Figure out as much as you can. If you get anywhere around 5,000, 10,000, I have to call the other agent. And if I see a pace on something after I do the math, look, I don't know if there's a big debt in HOA, but I do know they have to pay their HOA. I do know they have to pay off their taxes. And I do know we have 8% stock on here. I do know that. I do know. I do know these basic things, right? I know what the original loan amount is. I can take off a little bit, 1,000, but I can't find a pace loan. And so when we get to here, I'm making a phone call. And you do that with every listing. That's not a short sale listing. As a buyer's agent, you do that with every offer. Which offers?
Every
Why?
Because you need to know what you can.
You need to know. We can offer and that seller can't sell. I don't need surprises at the closing table. Because if there was a PACE loan, and that's only one example, there could be other types of loans, it could be forbearance. Forbearance could be stuff in here. But I have to have a conversation with that other agent. One, I need to wake them up. Are you sure your seller wants to sell? I did an net sheet. Did you include the PACE loan? Cause I want a PACE loan. What PACE loan? I found one. Right? So you do this when you make the offer. Don't ask me what I should do. Because I'm gonna say, did you do this? Buyer's agents, you have to check on these things. Because those things will pop up. Your head's in the sand if you don't think those things will pop up. Can you pick your title company if you've got the buyer?
No, yes.
Yes. Every question I ask is a 50-50 chance. Can you pick the title company if you've got the buyer?
Yes.
Yes. Can your title person run a pencil search?
Yes.
Definitely.
There you go. There you go. I need you guys to be so clear on these things. If you've got a listing now, how many of you have listings? Go back. Go back. Go back and check it. Just to be sure. Just go back. Take a look. It's a learning, it's an exercise. Try it out. Try it out. The 8% that I pick is 2% for closing costs, which is title and everything, right? Stamps, and then 6% commission. That's where I came up with the 8%. If it's 5% commission, are we still good? Yeah. I know. It's money if it's 5% commission, so I go worst case.
2% of what is?
2% on my closing costs, which is title, stamps,
Okay.
right?
Title, yeah.
So that's what the 2% is, but I always do 8% if it's 5%. Or even happier because it's more money to the seller. The worst thing my seller could say to me, Dolores, you were wrong. I'm getting 30,000, not 25. Really? That makes me wrong. That makes me awesome. Because the mistake is in your favor. Right. All right. Do the math, interview the listing agent, find out the motivation. Do they have to sell or do they want to sell? This is a maybe I want to sell. Until I find that I'm not making any money. These two, this is a definitely, I have to sell. Right? This one is a maybe. Prepare your offer. Negotiate, record contingencies, closing and fees. Now, closings for a short sale is different than closings for a regular sale. I'm gonna take 5 more minutes and then we're good. Closing for a short sale, you don't get the keys right away. Even after funding, because you may get the funding, but we have to send it to the bank to pay the loan off. Remember, there's a bank out there that needs a loan payoff. So it typically takes 48 hours to get the keys. Just so you know, because even though we fund it, we have to get it to the original bank. That we have to pay off and make whole. And you don't negotiate close dates on short sales. When we get the approval, and they say, you're closing on this date, you are closing on this day, so that house is in foreclosure.
So the bank makes the decision.
Yes. Yes, they can't sign anything, but they are running the show. So build your team, build your systems, build your relationship, build your skill set, and then plan to succeed. What I did not go over was what the seller needs. So I will tell you real quick what the seller needs. 3 things. We know they have to be financially what? The fancy word.
Insolvent.
They must be insolvent. We know they must be insolvent. We have to prove in a hardship letter that we will provide help. We don't do it for them, but you'll learn that in a full short sale class. Because I'm only taking you up to the listing, I'm not taking you through the short sale. we know that they have to, in a hardship letter, convince the bank with all supporting documentation that while they were good when they first got the loan, because they were approved, that this, and this happened, and now I can no longer meet the payments. So it's a hardship letter. My spouse left, the dog died, and I have 4 flat tires, and I lost my job. So it's a hardship letter. It sounds like a Western song, a country song. But I need them to cry, right?
Yeah, you need to
'Cause I
create a
Just
connection.
like Google them. You can Google, oh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Google hardship letters are all over the place. What you don't want your seller to say is, this house sucks, your bank sucks, I'm not paying you. It's not a hardship letter. But again, that's part of what happens with the negotiator, right? So they have to be broke, we need a good hardship. And 3, we have to be able to prove everything. And they need to be extremely quick. When I ask for something, so I need them to be responsive. When I ask for something, I need it yesterday. Whatever I ask them, and it's like that in a regular thing. I asked for something, I needed it yesterday. Don't play games with me. I know where you live.
Prove what, I'm sorry?
I know everything about you.
Doctor, I need supporting docs for everything. Now, if we can't get all those things, the bank's not gonna approve it. It's the same amount of information or package that we needed for them to get the loan. I need the same information to get them out. Bank statements, loss of job, homelessness, and so I need to get to read that story backwards. So to get the loan, I have a great job, I got great income, this wonderful, and my credit score. Now it's backwards. My credit's down to 350, it's a single family income. I don't have the husband there or spouse or wife or whatever the other person is. So I'm weaving the story backwards.
And that just can be in the.
That's in the hardship letter, and then all the documentation to prove it. I'm on unemployment, or, here's my bank statement, your bank, and I have to be insolvent, so I can't have other assets. I can't have a $200,000 car sitting in the garage and it's paid off. Broker than broke. I can't have assets. I can't have a Mona Lisa in my living room.
So what do they do with the assets?
That's the way.
They're gonna ask for sale. So I'm a bank, you owe me 500,000 and you're asking me to take 300,000. You have assets. You gotta let them know. They will find it. They're running a credit check on you, and you're giving them bank statements. They will find your assets. So they're gonna say, okay, I get it. Can you sell it?
Yeah.
So can you contribute a little bit? They just want you to contribute. So, and I have to let my sellers know that up front. So that's part of my conversation with them, right? Because we're gonna go through all those things at the listing appointment. The only thing that nobody can touch, the only thing that the bank cannot touch are 401ks and retirement plans. They cannot touch those. Cannot touch them. They're 100% safe. Yes. And it doesn't mean they take their bank account and dump it into a 401k. I've had people do so many weird things. So I've proved that the house isn't going to give me enough money back. So it's a short sale. Now I'm proving that my seller needs the short sale because they're insolvent. So if I take those two together, I can run to the bank. I can close a short sale in 8 weeks. With the right. So the next thing, if you really want to continue this, is to get certified in the entire process. I'm only telling you how to get the listing. So if you ever get a short sale listing, before you go on the appointment, run into my office. I'll help you get started. But then after that, we have to follow the right path. Because we're just getting the listing. Now we have to do the short sales. So this is listing and selling short sale. This is not the short sale process. Are you good?
Thank you so much.
All right, I need 3 ahas. I can let you go. And remember, when you leave here, you have to initial out. So give me 3 ahas. What did you learn leaving that you did not know when you came in?
all the fact that you have to do all these processes.
Do the math.
Do the math, yeah.
It's all it is do the math, and that's not just this, right?
Yeah, because it's important, the number.
You don't know what you're walking into, what you're saying? Do the math.
Yeah.
I know you guys hate math.
Oh,
But I bet you can go to make sure that. It's not hard.
It's not harder, yeah.
This is not hard. One more thing. One more thing. Yes.
That's where one.
Yeah, it's protected. Isn't that something?
All type of retirement, they cannot touch it.
It's not all, but I know, Iris 401ks. I think that's not all they're, kind of all covered under that. Your retirement plans are protected. Because it's your future, not your past.
Oh, yes.
Okay, pretty cool.
Yep.
All right, everyone, well, thank you. If you want to get certified, let me know. I'm trying to get the class in here next in February. I'm gonna work with things to see if I can get it, and that's an 8-hour class.
Yes,
But
I would like to-
initial out